Good evening, everyone, and welcome again to the Lemons iRacing League. I am Eric Rude, Everything Bagel at the 24 Hours of Lemons. Thank you for joining us for another Sunday evening of escape from horrible, horrible reality. We're coming to you from New England and one of the tracks we've visited many times in real life, New Hampshire Motor Speedway. It's a track visited annually by NASCAR, who are not proud of the association with us there, and therefore we're here to pollute its narrow, twisting road course virtually. For now, be sure to join the conversation on Facebook Live, YouTube, or Twitch, wherever you're watching, and get ready for something approximating motorsport. Pour yourself some maple syrup, settle in for a couple hours. Joining me, as always, tonight is our producer, Ryan Bauer, and Sean Yoder of Nemesis Labs. How you guys doing?
Good evening. How are you doing, Sean?
I had a single gin and tonic, and now I think I just poured myself a triple, kind of on mistake. But it's a long race, so it actually ends up being the thing to do. And excellent. I'm happy to be here, and it's about time to break out the VR, I think.
There you go. Yeah, definitely.
Excellent. And because this is a long evening, we brought in some special guests to help us fill the time. Is the cast of Everyone Racers. Everyone Racers, introduce yourselves.
This is Chris.
This is Chrissy.
I'm Jeff.
And I'm Mental.
Man, it really sounds like a podcast in here tonight. And I love it. So we're good. That's fantastic.
Because everyone in here does podcasts.
Dude, that was that was too legit for this booth.
Yeah, the best part is that was better than we ever do on the podcast.
Wow. He's not kidding. It is absolutely 100%
somebody
true.
on Twitch, clip that. Thank you.
We'll don't worry.
Well done, y'all, and welcome, by the way.
Glad
Hey,
to be
thanks.
here.
We're thrilled to be here. This is great. I've been enjoying watching more so than racing, so this is even better. I get to actually say something.
That's a nice thing about being involved with the broadcast. You don't necessarily the driving and the results of your race are not a factor, and that's why I enjoy it so much. Because, like most of you out there watching and listening, you've been wrecked by people on iRacing, and it gets really frustrating. But it's a nice thing about it. If it happens here, you know, it's almost intended. So everyone enjoy.
It's the intended, unintended consequences.
Well, It's great to be at a place where you can like smash things and, you know, not get arrested by the riot police this weekend.
Oh God, yes, correct. Keep it
That's gonna
limited.
be quick,
Keep it
so I have
safe.
to get into that.
Yep.
So chat was asking who won the last race, the last Enduro we did, which was at Barber last Sunday. And Priority Fail Racing won in a street stock. It was Nathan Schlavine, Philip Cotier, and Max Lupfer. Pretty even spread on the laps on those drivers. Looks like Max was the anchor on that team. So congratulations to Priority Fail Racing for their victory in the last Enduro, and also Bear Pope Enduro color name for coming home in second, and Bavarian Mechanical Rex for coming home in third. So we'll talk more about those teams tonight, I'm sure. But I just wanted to let everyone in chat know those were the top three from last week. So Priority Fail Racing, Bear Pope Enduro color name, and Bavarian Mechanical Rex.
You know, Schlavine is really like this. This has been his week. He's been in the hunt at almost every event we've done.
There's a look at the Bear Pope.
Bear Pope smashing into a wall.
Perfect timing.
So,
that name, by the way, comes from the old sayings, mashed together, does a bear shit in the woods, and does the Pope wear a funny hat? So,
I thought it was is the Pope Catholic?
Oh, that too.
Oh no, yeah, Pope wear funny hats. So
separate thing, but both the what's the rhetorical questions, I believe.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Oh, that was full yeet.
Wow, we're starting early.
Yeah,
I'm gonna take that shortcut right through there.
I knew there was a good place to put a camera. So let's see if we can get another look at that, because I'm sure that was pretty amazing from this camera. Oh yeah, coming right at the camera. That's Matt Sitko, everybody, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, ouch!
I like the extra spin there.
I think it was a secondary explosion coming off the oil pan or something.
Always, yeah. That was a rod going through the oil pan.
That was deceleration plus
as he full yeet
deceleration trauma. Like it hit and then accelerated faster backwards off the wall. That's
physics. That's physics, bro.
No, not like that.
Oh, it's iRacing physics.
It is if you spell it with an F. It absolutely is physics.
Well, that's right.
That's physics with a Z in there.
Well, that's a good tie-in since he's got the big dog livery from 1999, which is super extreme with crossed forearms. So the Z just drops right in there.
No, there are no legend cars. Bird up for life. No legends cars tonight. That's going to be in the Thursday races where you'll see the legends cars instead of the street stocks. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
So street stocks are part of the Enduro Fun Free Camaro.
Yeah, exactly. I was to say there's a whole lot of folks not in Mustangs right now, and they are all quite excited. I think earlier we saw Amanda Tully. She's got to be happy.
There's another look at, yep, there's a happy face right there, literally.
Oh, she's got the full combo. They got the Uncle Dave Cheaties, the Pittsburgh trolley on there, the Derpy Cheshire Cat. This is well done. If you get the chance, there's a bit of an Easter egg on the back of that one there, the neighborhood Cheaties Bork hole. So that's what...
It's somewhat troubling. I don't know if I... That was a great look at the turtle there.
There you go.
I was going to ask, because I have done this track a million times in real life, but never did it digital. And I wanted to know if the turtle was as deadly in digital space as it is in meat space.
Absolutely.
I'm really glad whoever digitized this track just made sure to leave the ginormous hump of concrete right 3 inches from the racing line as it enters back into the oval.
Right next to a retaining wall, so you can spin out.
It was either 4 o'clock on a Friday or 8 a.m. on a Monday when that situation happened. As I put on some appropriate Camaro music, we'll take a lap with Amanda Tully.
There we go.
You were saying?
Look out, got a Solstice. She's gonna Tully it. Oh, okay. No. I'm sorry, that's a bishing. She was almost gonna
right.
Tully's when she chops your nose off.
Yeah, the tullying is taken out 2 at once. We gotta get all this clear.
There's a lot of talent involved in that, obviously. Obviously.
Preferably twice airborne. You got some good cars in the paddock, by the way. Always fun to try to look at the amorphous blob of car that is used as a prop in the background.
Yeah.
Hey, there's Jim McGuire.
Salty meat for the win, everybody.
Absolutely.
Jim McGuire races a Corvette in real life with that paint scheme.
You know we have to say it now. Corvette magazine.
Corvette magazine. He's pulling into the pits. Who pulls into pits during practice? Like,
you got to practice driver changes.
Judge Phil puking the rainbow with Howard Dean. Oh, God, that's amazing.
It's the Howard Dean scream, right? Oh, there you go.
Yeah, but he's got Phil on the right side of the car and Dean on fire on the left side.
Oh, he does.
Honestly, if Howard Dean had chosen Phil as his running mate, he'd be our president. So.
How long into the broadcast are we?
We are
9 minutes in.
We are 19 minutes if you count the timer. So you had 9 minutes since we've.
Okay, whoever had 9 minutes in, Jeff spills his beer on his lap. Go ahead and get the win.
Ouch.
I'm going to mute my mic and clean my pants up now, which hopefully will be the only time.
Hashtag clean pants.
We neglected to make an actual bingo card for tonight, which we totally should have done.
Can we get F's in chat for Jeff's pants and Jeff's beer?
Yeah.
The beer is replaceable. The pants will have to go into the laundry.
Miata13B, one of our Instagram followers, Alex, I believe, is he's saying the turtle is in fact deadly, Jeff. In fact, that turtle is so deadly it caused you to spill your beer.
There you go. You look at the quick stop Solstice with the Snoochie Boochies license plates. I love it.
Oh, very well. Yes, nice. Now it's interesting that they're here because my understanding is they're not even supposed to be here today.
Ah, excellent. Excellent.
I believe we've got Chrissy got her mic fixed.
Welcome, Chrissy.
Chrissy there? Maybe. She's getting there. It's fine.
Yeah, she'll figure it out. All right.
Nice.
It's on now.
Sunday
She's setting the
evening lull.
microphone for Discord, etc.
Ooh.
So.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
that's always
There we
good.
go. Yeah.
Tully already Bish and Jim. That's a, or no, that's not
that's
Tully.
Bear
That's
Pope.
yeah. Yeah, you're right.
The Bear Pope. So good. Looks like what else we got in this race? Ooh. People driving on Soggy's in this one.
Yeah, Santiago's out there in the sorry Miata. We got James Panicost out there in a Vans checkered MX-5. David Bryan, Team 1969. Nice.
Cut to Santiago going through turn 3, brought to you by The Boulder. The Boulder. It's up there on the right in a few feet, but you only know about it when you're about to hit it.
Jeff,
Who's
who
that?
are we talking to that had raced that track a dozen times and had no realization there was a boulder there?
Still clean
Okay.
his pants. It's fine.
Still clean his pants. Elzar Mann, also in Team Heavy Metal, is making some laps. So they're in the car right now. Anton Lovett, you gotta love it.
Believe he's probably
Yeah.
driving with Chris Champion, but I'm not positive on that.
Corey
Tennis.
Porter. Yeah, Corey Porter got a big face on the hood of that psychedelic Solstice.
Excellent.
Chris St. Mary's actually in the Jim's Meat Chips car right now. Matt Sitko and the Big Dogs. Yeah.
The Nixon face. It's Nixon, of course.
Oh, of course. You know, and the thing is I've got no feelings one way or the other for Nixon, but he's become such a cultural thing that I can't. Every time I hear the mention Nixon, I think of Nixon's head in a jar on Bender's body from the Futurama.
Somebody piling into the wall there on the back straight.
Oh, that's a pretty one.
Lifting the front tire. That's not
Hello.
usually helpful.
Here I am.
Hey, there's Chrissy.
Hey,
Welcome.
I'm here. Sorry. Technical difficulties. We're all good.
wow. It's like the front end just came off and just got trapped up under the car. That was
Yeah. Damage
Like a
model.
failure.
Eat.
That bitchin' itself.
which is hard to do because that's an impressive airbrush mural on the hood of that baby.
Oh, wow. Solstice pile up. Was not expecting that.
All right, so is this a PG podcast or broadcast rather? Are we trying to keep our language good?
Say PG-13-ish.
It's a PG
All right, so-
18-ish, I think, actually, technically.
So I think Soggy knew we were coming, and on the hood of Soggy Solstice, he's got a bit of what I think is an elitist statement regarding his monotheistic breakfast meat approach to life. And I this is supposed to be a time of unity, and there he
you
is
go.
being
Scrapple and spam.
well,
That's
and
his
then the
vote.
coalition of alternative breakfast meats. That's a direct shot at Jeff.
Bacon
And
for
I'm
life.
back just in time to say, screw Soggy and your single pork product domination.
Can't we all just get along?
No.
Yeah. Lemons Racing is the devil, the fastest water boy, also hanging on to their the Lemon Pit fastest chicken in the, well, I guess Northeast now. Slight color change.
There are a lot of solstices in this race.
That's amazing.
Ooh,
Quality.
she in fact. Oh, Vicky Vandercourt. Oh,
Had a bad
Which-
time. Or good
well,
time, depending how you look at it.
Exactly. She showed her, things and distracted him.
That's
Oh,
right.
that was great. The overhead view there was...
Like that? I got some.
Yeah,
I got
that's
some
really
of that. Yeah.
Hey, can we go back to Soggy's hood there? Because I think that's a specific reference.
There's
for
a
Jeff.
special camera.
Oh yeah, no, we were
Yeah.
just having that conversation about it's a direct shot right at Jeff.
Oh, we
right,
saw
good.
it.
Sorry.
I commented.
We're on our way
Sorry.
there. Back to that. No, you're fine. There you go.
Well, they successfully
It
used the
doesn't say-
exit road.
it doesn't
That's
say
good.
roll tide,
Well done.
though.
Well done.
I feel like there should be a roll tide on that car somewhere.
So, enlighten me, everyone Racers group. Where do you guys fall on the Sheets Wawa scale here? Because I know that's big.
That's important.
Jeff has to go last.
Okay, I'll go last.
All right, I'll start us off. As a transplant to Philadelphia, like 11, 12 years ago, I was like, who eats sandwiches from a gas station? That's terrible. And now I am so deep in the Wawa camp that it's not even funny. They're great.
I'll go next.
Go ahead.
I live in Pennsylvania, and I have, for my whole life, I have been a Wawa fan forever, but did live in places in the United States where Sheetz was king. Never caught on, their sandwiches aren't as good, everything's not as good. I'm a Wawa fan.
I had never heard of either until the very first time. In fact, when I met everyone on the show, the Everyone Racers podcast, we're like, oh yeah, we're going to stop by the Wawa. And I thought that was just a made up word as a generic reference to a convenience store. And then we pulled up and it is in fact called the Wawa. And I've gone down that path of, I do like Wawa's food better, but Sheetz has really stepped up their ordering game. So usually when I'm driving back from Pennsylvania, when I was still living on the East Coast, and it's 2:00 in the morning, or I'm coming back from a race and I'm just really hungry. It was great because you could do the entire touch screen in a Sheetz and have your food ready while you're going to the bathroom and everything. So
I'm gonna call an audible here in the middle of this. I'm sorry. You didn't finish. I didn't let you finish.
Don't worry about mental. Just cut them off in the middle.
No, because I was gonna go right to, are you a quick trip or a come and go guy in the middle of the country?
Oh. All right. So
Meatwad.
when I was lived in the Midwest, I was a come and go guy, but Quick Trip has stepped up their game. So that's the closest thing you're going to get to a Wawa on the East Coast now is a QT.
What's up, Meatwad?
I'm down with the QT.
You got Meatwad on his virtual reality. He's gonna turn into the igloo.
We got Meatwad up here in the flag stand. We're checking out the front stretch right now. And I'm just gonna chime in on this come and go nonsense. What in the world is that? Wait, how could you name anything now? That doesn't even make sense.
They spell it with a K too, just to be fun.
KUM. Yep.
Are you sure you're sure that's fun? That ain't no child center gas station. That's crazy.
I just hate to get like a Slurpee at the come and go. That's
Exactly.
What I've noticed about the I think that it's a different in their contracting is the come and goes tend to be like individually owned, so their variety is kind of, the quality is all over the map. Sketchy, scary as hell.
Man.
And QT I think is all corporate, so you're going to get fresh coffee and decent pastries.
Sounds right. The Quick Trip near my girlfriend's house in Tulsa was made famous for a man who was assaulted the security guard there with a didgeridoo. and
how do you get a Tulsa in
didgeridoo in the crotch for doing that? So
Oh my God.
Ouch.
Quick Trip.
Yeah, being a former resident of Oklahoma, you just assaulting security personnel in the state of Oklahoma is always a bad idea because sure, they've got whatever little non-lethal thing that they were issued as part of the job, but it's Oklahoma. There aren't.
Yeah.
So
Well.
I don't know if y'all are cool with me talking about it or not, but this one time at bank here, I had a didgeridoo. I'm gonna stop right there.
Oh, Meatwad.
All right. So Jeff, Sheetz or Wawa?
Well, I am a well-known Wawa aficionado, and I am the one that Donnie is constantly trying to bait with his Sheetz talk, to which I always say, take your schmuffin and shove it up your schmash.
Jeff loves
Jeff can tell us what
Wawa
happens
so
with this
much.
soup.
Yes, exactly. Jeff has Wawa soup air fresheners in his Mazda.
True. There's Donnie on the screen there.
Driving with an Xbox controller.
Driving, yes.
obviously.
Yeah. There's only one position on that steering wheel, 90 degrees.
So earlier this week, Donnie had a Steph Schrader broken record livery on his Solstice, and if I'm not mistaken, this livery was done by Steph as a means of an apology, and I see a whoop whoop on the side. Eric, are we looking at an ICP ride?
It is an ICP ride. I don't think it's the one that Steph thinks is supposed to be on there. Maybe it is. I don't know. But
I know
it's
it says
pretty great.
Fago and Gathering of the Juggalos on it, so
He had that on last Sunday as well, I believe.
yeah.
Maybe that's their endurance livery. is the Gathering of Juggalos, which was canceled this year, by the way.
Yeah, they canceled that before Lemons canceled its races because
Well,
nothing
that
says responsible.
That was our bellwether, was whether or not ICP is going to cancel the Gathering.
Go ahead, Chris.
When ICP is taking a more measured, reasonable stance than much of the government, you know you have to question something.
Exactly. Yeah.
They had a long, meaningful chat with Dr. Fauci. They just sat down and they just figured things out, you know?
Did they? But when they were having that chat with him, did they find out how magnets work?
No.
No, nobody knows how magnets work. That's just crazy. That's like voodoo.
They know it's MF and miracles. Miracles all up in this bee. Oh, there's
Y'all
Alex.
want me to go down these stairs and hang out with amongst the fans? I can do that for a little bit.
You know what? Hey, why don't you try the inside corner? Which turn is it? I believe it is turn 3 that goes up the hill when you leave the oval.
That's turn 3 brought to you by the boulder, or you could stand on the boulders between 3 and 5.
And the reason I say that is because while we were talking, there was a Camaro that tried to go through there with 3 Miatas, 3.5 wide. So that's going to be an interesting place. Yeah, right there. If you get the inside of that corner, I bet there's going to be some interesting viewpoints in that VR.
As
Miata boots the Camaro there. Oh, and Tully's Petruniac.
Sounds right.
Yeah. All right.
I'd kind of be upset if she didn't, but
Okay. John Butler helping us out there. Turn 3 before the wall, turn 4 after wall. Thank you, John.
Wow. That's a good
Bird
save
Up
there.
for Life says that Sheets is the choice for the late night runs of North Carolina meth heads, which I tend to agree with.
Whoa.
Oh,
a little
well done,
Solstice
Shander.
pitting the Camaro there. Now it's very important that they digitize everything in this track. Not only did they digitize the turtle, which we talked about earlier, but did they digitize the giant rock?
Yeah, the rocks are there.
Oh, good.
Oh, absolutely. Boulders. Yo.
Hey, y'all, I came down the steps, and I'm down here with the crowd. And these folks look high.
clang.
High as all high can be. Look at this guy swaying back and forth. He's just barely moving.
Well,
He's
he must.
got sunglasses on. What's he trying to hide?
He's not even supposed to be there today either.
I don't think any of these people. This is like none of these people are supposed to be here.
When Meatwad is
Look
the
at
most animated person in the most real person in the stands.
They've
That's a problem.
taken Coachella. They took all these crowd photos at Coachella and put them into the game.
It's definitely not New England. I don't think you wear those shorts.
No.
Do they have
In this time of the year, those legs would not be that tan. They would absolutely be pasty.
You got cars 2 feet from these people going 160 miles an hour. They ain't even moving. They don't even care.
There ain't a car
those
on this track
people look
going
well social distance though, which is
106. They're going 106 miles an hour.
There's not enough polos and ascots in this crowd.
Right?
as part of the digitization and getting the real feel of New Hampshire, do they have Johnny make you kiss his gnomes when you screw up? And do they have Blue Nose checking everything you own to make sure it's tight before you're allowed on track?
Watch band's a little loose. Laces don't look quite good enough for me.
Oh, no, seriously, that's how far she goes. She makes me like crank on my chin strap till it's so tight I'm choking myself, and I have to loosen it up as I get down the track.
Very
It's
nice.
just leftovers from the S&M theme, though.
But that was fun choking.
Hey, y'all, can I get some security over here, please? This guy in this white striped shirt is freaking me out. I came up here, he's just staring at me. He won't look away.
John Butler is on the chat on Facebook.
While he's supposed to be racing.
Yes.
Yeah, why not?
And Andrew Steele says this event needs more Citroën and Rolls Royce.
Always.
Really a Three Pedal Mafia fan.
Hey, we have a Citroën. It could be there.
Maybe it's in the infield. By the way, Car 44 running the paint scheme of my alma mater, Northern Illinois University, with the DeKalb genetics and the barbed wire. Apparently, I don't know if that's supposed to be a tribute to me, but I'm all about it. NIU Huskies, DeKalb, Illinois.
What's the story of the barbed wire?
Yeah,
This is where barbed wire was invented. It was DeKalb, Illinois.
Wow.
There you go. And Homer Simpson went to NIU, also Dan Castellaneta.
Wow,
True
that's
story.
like that's such a deep livery there. They had to have attended.
Yeah, they're
themselves.
pandering. I'm all about
Yeah.
it.
Oh,
Dope.
There you
It's
go.
like I'm gonna go wide just so I can T-bone this Pontiac over here.
It is the camera curse. We put the camera on you, and you're gonna crash into something.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's what totally screwed me up the other night, guys. I mean, I was doing great until you guys did that. Because
You literally were like we were on you for a second. You got pitted coming into the final turn at Laguna. It was a bit hard to watch.
I mean, that was pretty solid right there. Can I get far enough into the dirt to hit the other guy that's in the dirt already? Well done.
All right, Raymond.
Here's a non-realistic point of this track. If you go wide in the top of that oval, you sink into this gravel that is so deep and so terrible. It's like the runaway truck ramp gravel.
Yes.
You can't get out of it.
Yep. As a matter of
The
fact,
only time we ever
I was gonna say we are on board with Ray
wagon van.
Bernone. Yeah. He has put our cars into that gravel, hasn't he?
he put his car
there
in that
it is.
gravel.
3 crashes. Yeah. That's also the if I'm not mistaken, the spot where he lost the rear tire of the oh wow.
It's a good pilot.
It just keeps happening. Like they're not getting out of the way quick enough. And here comes oh darn, it was so close. All right. There's the replay. Okay.
Seriously, y'all, I'm up here in the grandstands right now on the front stretch, and the whole crowd I think is on Meow Meow, and like literally they're not really moving, but no one's sitting down. So I don't know what's happening on the track right now that's got everyone out of their seats. But congratulations for getting everyone out of their seats.
They took the promos seriously when we said you pay for the whole seat, you're only going to use the edge of it. But
They're not even using the edge of it though, Eric. They're literally the whole crowd is standing, and they have been the entire time, but they're just gently swaying, like "Candle in the Wind" is playing or something. It's very.
I told you, got him from Coachella. I'm not.
It is disconcerting, man. It is very disconcerting.
Schlavine tearing around the track there in that Priority Fail Racing Transmero.
Is that why they're all on their feet?
Totally, absolutely. That they know Santiago's in there someplace, and Santiago's got a posse.
They're all Schlavine fans.
They'll have his Priority Fail jerseys on. The logo jacket.
Nice.
All right, about a minute, and we'll be ready to do this thing. Only 2 hours to go,
All right.
folks. Only 2
Dave
hours to go.
Carpenter, topping the leaderboards in practice. Your teammate.
There you go. With the multi-livery Transmero.
So it looks like we've got, check my math on this, Eric, or tell me to shut up if I'm taking your thunder. I'm seeing 23 teams entered.
That's
Sure,
a Big 10-4.
let's go with that.
23. Yep, we got 23 on the scoring. We got 23 on the timing screen.
All right,
Sure. It's fine.
Never. You're for accuracy. I don't know why you think that that's something I care about. Without
Steph Schrader is in the chat right now, and she's concerned because she could never figure out if you're supposed to butt chug Meow Meow or not.
Hey,
Anyone
hold
need,
on.
Are you
Everyone,
sure you're always supposed to do that?
Everyone hold on to something that will keep them in place. There is a new person in a social media. Now they're talking to us on YouTube, but it's Hamza. Hamza has crossed the social media barrier. He has entered into the uncertain world of the digital just to talk to us.
Whooped.
Hamza.
I thought it was like a Hindu IMSA. I didn't really know that was a person. at first.
Yeah, and he actually signed in with his own name. It's awesome.
Gridding.
Your starting
gotta go do a
grid
grid
for
walk.
tonight's event. For Team 1969, we see Andrew Banah on the pole with Donnie Petruniak for Fail Incorporated / Florida Man Racing. In row 2, we've got Gatorade's better driver, Jesse Thomas, lining up next to Tiagi Racing's Corey Porter. In row 3, we see Brian Trainer for Super Happy Fun Club and Jesse Ports for Devo Local 33 1/3. In row 4, we see Raymond Muratori racing for Black Maven Motorsports, lining up next to Cash Money's Melanie Walker. In row 5 tonight, we see Dropped Packets Endurance Racing team driver James Pancoast start the race tonight, lining up next to Broke by Friday Racing's Jonathan Lyons.
That's a great name.
Let me make sure we're not missing them starting the race here. Okay, getting back to the rest of the grid. In row 6 tonight, you see heavy metal driver Elazar Mann. It looks like they just started. So, well, yeah, the rest of the grid, you'll see it go across your screen, but I don't want to miss any of this awesomeness down here in turn 1.
Which no doubt is going to be fun. Actually, I think turn 3 is going to be the big crash 'em up today.
That's
Wait,
right.
did we
That's
just do
right.
a standing start? Was that a standing start?
We did.
It was.
We did.
Oh, who knew?
Well executed, too, as we've already got a Camaro pushing
Oh,
their
look
way
at that.
through.
Turn 2, we've already got a little
Incoming.
spin, but here we go. Here we go. Oh, this is going to be a beautiful
Glorious. Oh,
disaster.
there's one yeet.
Oh, there we go.
Only one
All right.
yeet in turn 1 in a 2-hour race. Well, the first turn.
But
Impressive.
somebody lost it coming up the hill, too. Oh, man. Early battle for the lead.
Didn't take long for the Camaro to get up there.
Well, dying old man. With standing start. If they'd have done one lap, it would have been probably a little bit more challenging.
That's a cool shot. Coming over the hill there,
Yes.
knocking out the cone.
Pushing, yeah, kicking all the cones halfway to
Rip cones.
Yeah, we just need those out of the way for the rest of the race. So just hit them early.
Yeah. Which
So
is exactly
yeah.
what we do in the meat world.
So leading Class A, we have the fit number 52 Camaro Jim's Meat Chips machine for James McGuire. Leading the Solstices, we've got the 44 machine for Team 1969 Andrew Banah. And we see the first of the Miatas here, James Pancoast, the 501, the Vans Off the Wall livery, the Dropped Packets Endurance team.
Looking at 1997 there with the
Damn
Bear
right.
car next to the Vans Off the Wall.
What a combo. Oh, Bear Poke. Hang on to it.
Almost.
Oh.
000 saw me standing over here on the tire wall. Oh, you want to come over here and say hello?
We get a shot
Oh,
there
man,
from
look
all.
at that.
There we go. All the cars coming by.
Oh!
Uh-oh.
Oh, it's coming for you. It's coming right for you. Oh, and he
Number-
recovers.
Number 7 takes out the number 3 Solstice. He
Unique
doesn't know what that number
perspective.
3 stands for.
Full
That,
day.
that was actually a really nice recovery for that Solstice. Well done.
Up in the hunt here, and the lead is the Jetta, black and orange Jetta of Far From Winning. I don't know if that's Tom Lamino or Alex behind the wheel, but
It is Tom. Tom
it's
is
Tom.
actually
There you go.
big. Well, I mean, Tom can drive. Just no one knows that because his car never runs.
Ooh, sick burn.
Someone better call the burn unit.
Some arguing going on in the chat and the correct way to spell Camaro.
It's with an E.
It's
Everybody.
definitely with me. Yeah, we all know that.
Pretty
Andy
sure
K.
there's a silent F in Camaro. Put those silent F's up in chat. For Camaro.
Oh,
Turn
and
around.
Tom
behind
goes a
you.
little
Yeah,
wide.
There you go. I was going to say, turn around.
Is
Here
that
comes the field.
Is
It's
this
got to
a
be Tom.
single Mustang that's now coming in there? I
Gotta
have
be
not
Tom.
seen any other Mustangs.
Yeah, it's
It's just like
yep.
It's a Doug Ellison with the Tiagi reserves.
That
Larson's
other eight just
Biscuits.
argued in right in front of me.
And Peniston Oils.
Aniston oils. Excellent.
The old Top Gear reference there.
Yes. Larson's arse biscuits.
Arse biscuits, yep.
Oh! Knocked his headlights off with that one.
This is the battle for third position, as Bear Pope is about 5 seconds ahead of this battle in second. So Doug in third here.
Yeah,
David
and
Carpenter
everyone
in
else
fourth.
is. Yeah, everyone else is always the Camaro fan, but I have really enjoyed driving the Mustang on this track. But I think I'm the only guy, so I'm rooting for this Mustang. But
Absolutely.
I think Uncle Dave is going to have a few things to say about it.
So we see our winners from last week. They are currently in the 6th position, working on top 5 right now as Schlavine passes James Pancoast for the 5th position.
Oh, a little bit of a dicey with that awesome airbrush Firebird.
I saw 2 cones go flying on the other side of the track, so that's a 4-second penalty for someone. I don't know who it was, but. And I'm right in front of this bump here, driver's right, re-entering the speedway.
Yes, the turtle. You're standing on the turtle.
I'm literally at the turtle, and it is as evil as everyone said it was.
Oh, yeah. If it doesn't cause you to spin, and it will, it'll absolutely destroy your wheel and tire.
So let me say that I have been in some race cars with some extremely compliant suspension. And if you nick that turtle with a Rolls Royce or a Citroen SM, it really sucks it up, but still will disturb the chassis of the vehicle.
Oh my God!
Oh.
And the turtle is doing what the turtle does in there.
Can we go back? And that was the white Jetta looked like it was. Oh, because I'm betting he flipped on that one. That's got to be
That was a lot of air, y'all.
Yeah, he's back in the pits. That is Anton Levitt with onset. If we could see that replay, I think that would be enjoyable.
It's a new track for Anton. I don't think he's ever been here. So learning the hard way about.
And
Anton.
Turtle, yes,
Anton.
there it is. Oh man,
that is what the turtle will do if you're not careful.
oh,
Sorry, Anton. Shame that you died like that.
You know, he landed right in the back of the recovery truck, so it
That's
was
a
a
good
short
point.
go.
And he never lifted, as you don't do.
No, never
That's
let.
right.
Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and throw this out there. My years of going to racetracks literally just kicked in, and I was going to run across to the other side of the track from the turtle to look into the speedway, and cars were coming, and I was like, go, no, don't go. VR becomes very real if you spend enough time in it, y'all.
Nice.
Come the F's in chat for Anton, looks like.
Oh yeah.
All right, now I'm directly across from the turtle now. Got a better shot.
There you go.
Yeah, rest in peace, Anton. Yeah. Well done.
Lots of
Yeah,
F's
Jeff, I
in the
think
chat.
The first thing I ever told you guys when we went to New Hampshire, like 10 years ago, I said, so coming back onto the oval, there's this giant bump in the pavement. Stay away. Stay away.
Indeed. All right.
The track is kind of scary.
Oh, Jetta sideways, big sideways.
All right. What's James McGuire's lead up to right now? Because there is nobody in his mirror.
6.7 seconds.
All right. Well, and it looks bigger than that. That's impressive. All right.
Well, you've heard that before.
That's what she said.
Whoa, yeah, Bear Pope running in
Honestly,
second.
I've never heard that. I wish I could say that's what she said.
Made up a couple tenths last lap. See some yeeting going on with the Solstice. Very nicely done.
All right.
Ish. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Matt-
for our standards,
Matt-
it was excellent.
Yeah.
I think that's right.
Matt Sitko doing his best to try and run down that postal Camaro.
Look at that. It's got a nice lean to it.
It's got that gyro cam.
That's right. Get a good look
All
at
right,
the
where's
turtle.
another good spot? Should I go sit up at the top of the hill in a tree somewhere?
Go stand on the boulder.
Go stand on the boulder.
stand
yes,
on the boulder,
and
yeah.
the-
Or you can go to the
This
infield.
is
and look
actually
at all
some
the
decent
weird
driving
cars.
taking place here. Adequate, very adequate,
Well-
Matt.
Yeah. I didn't see. I never knew that Jim McGuire could actually drive because his Corvette's always broken. So
that's the nice thing about this. You don't really have to do any maintenance other than like cleaning out the dust out of your computer like once a year.
Yeah, and not money shifting when you're actually doing the iRacing. But it's
Right. Yeah, that's true. Money shifting will end your night quickly.
Yeah, we had
Josh.
a problem with that. Go ahead. Go with Josh.
I was gonna say Josh used asking if we can do an iRacing concours of lemons. I should probably just collect paint jobs from people and make a gallery because that'd be great.
Absolutely.
So good idea. Thank you. Hey, Mental, go ahead.
Well, I'll say we had a problem with missing shifts, and then Chris paid $70 for a JDM sticker in the Honda
helps.
that says "Don't shift miss." It's a Mugen sticker, and we haven't had an issue since then.
Actually,
Stickers are
Mental
great.
Ohms bought that in Japan and brought it back.
Oh,
So
nice!
Oh, last
it
week's
makes it even
winner
better.
in the sand pit.
Oh, race leader.
Oh
in the sand pit.
no!
But actually, he
what
was
happened
actually
to
running
Priority
running in sixth at the time.
Oh,
Six
so
liter.
he had an issue before
Yeah,
that.
he just cooked it. Ooh,
Oh wow! And so much that the damage had to take a second to
it
impact.
happens. It happens. So that's actually coming
right.
in the new build. I believe it's going to be on Tuesday. They're going to have multi-thread damage model, so it's going to actually be faster and better.
Oh wow! That's
yeah.
Are we still
actually there's you can use.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm just saying. I'm looking forward to the race on Thursday or even Tuesday. If we do a trash race on Tuesday, if there's new
We're off
damage.
this Tuesday, but Thursday. I
Okay,
think we're
Thursday.
at
Yeah. Barber again. Yeah.
Santiago
That'll be
in
fun.
Miata. Wow.
Yes, going down.
Race control, number 7 black Camaro with flames, plus 4 cones.
They were having trouble in practice.
Right.
The Andreeve team. I wonder.
Lock that left front.
Yeah, that is
sweet lockup.
suspension there.
I'm wondering what setup they're running because that Camaro looks like it's even setting up higher than the other ones we're seeing. Taking out 2 Solstice there while I goes between them. Well done, Andrew.
I am going to say this, though. The course workers are on it, man. Those cones were set back up instantly. It was amazing.
Talent.
Oh, we've got carnage on the main straightaway just under the start-finish line with some Solstice. Yeah.
Raymond and Jesse maybe being taken out by the Camaro on the front straight.
Oh, yeah. Oh, so yeah, here it is. So they comes through.
Brian
And,
Trainer, I think.
Left, right,
Wow.
gonna smash them both. Boom, boom,
Talent.
boom. And then I believe they collect one more here in a second.
All
The
that's
last
missing
time.
is the tire into the window. Is all.
I was just gonna say this.
I was gonna For those of you not familiar with the tire in the window, just Google on your old YouTube Lemons tire in window, and you'll see a wonderful actual event at this track.
I wouldn't call it one.
But they didn't see his face after he got out of the car. That was terrifying.
Ooh.
Surprise party.
Hey, y'all, I went back here to the back stretch outside the track, and I found a deer stand. It's crazy.
No, it's funny because normally the deers like to go to Summit Point.
I'm right out here by the woods, man. I'm sitting in the deer stand out here by the woods, all by myself.
Yeah.
It's nice, too. It's all metal. I think I'm going to take it.
See that tree stand? For many years, it was a bucket truck with the bucket all the way extended out until they actually built a little hut up there. So this is the improved version of New Hampshire.
Version 2.0.
I would like to point out they got the tire wall sort of like right out in front of me, and that's all that's between me and the track. And it's a little bit scary because I don't think I'm protected at all.
What I like is that you're using your meat wad to actually point in your perspective where that tire wall is.
Yeah.
And all we can see is your hand with a meat wad. But, we have no frame of reference.
Because well, I'm looking right at it. I'm looking down.
So Matt Sitko is doing his level best to run down that leader.
Look at that. Real racing.
They're getting close.
Would you say their jiggy is getting with it? That's the song. Anybody help?
It is nice back here, though, because the sun just came out, but I'm in the shade, so it's really nice.
Feels cool.
Yeah, it's nice and cool.
Yes, the dang old Camaros are back for the endurance races.
Yeah.
I believe you're just coming by the tree stand here.
And they are getting loose.
Oh,
They are. This is going to be an interesting battle here in a few minutes.
that Camaro could just brush the tire wall right under the tree stand. That's
Oh!
The
And,
40 is
turtle
down a
action.
lap.
Turtle. Yep.
yeah, but he just caught the turtle, and it cost him an opportunity to get that lap back.
He's now turtly enough to join the
Get another look at the turtle shot.
turtle.
You know, I polished up all my Cisco girl jokes, but I didn't think you guys would get them, so I've been not saying them.
Oh, nice.
Pretty good.
Oh, got a Solstice trying to bish the race leader. I believe that is
It's Donnie or Justin
Yeah.
Est. It's either one of them from Florida Man.
yeah.
It's Donnie. Of course, it's Donnie.
Yeah, with an Xbox controller. We'll let that one go, actually.
Do we have a memorial corner? We're asked. We have turn 3, which is brought to you by the Boulder. It's up there on the right in a few feet.
We could call that the Volvo
Yeah,
Stone Memorial Corner.
at the
You
top
don't
here,
you don't
shot
see it
right,
until
see
it
the
stopped your
boulder.
car from rolling down the hill.
That's exactly what the tagline was. It's up there on the right a few feet, but you only know that when you hit it. So,
I'm literally
Race leader.
standing. I'm sitting on the boulder right now watching the race.
there you
We
go.
got the race leader took out all 4 of those cones underneath that deer stand track station.
He's done that every single lap, I'm pretty sure.
That's probably why he's the race leader.
So the time the Swedish
on.
Mafia hit that boulder, they
right.
said, "Hey, we hit the boulder." I said, "What boulder?" And I'd been going this track for years. I didn't even know there was a boulder there. 'Cause I'd never there's no reason to look over there.
I was going to say, congratulations on keeping your eyes where you want the car to go.
Yeah. Oh, this is really shaping up to be quite the Transmero battle.
Still early, got
They're on
plenty
the
of
right
time.
here. Yeah, I mean, we're 16 minutes into the race somehow. Somehow there's still another hour and 45 minutes to go.
Oh, yeah. And now they're going to start working their way through traffic. Always fun.
What's going on with the red car there? The livery on the 339?
Give me just a second. I'll click through it. What do we got here?
Western PA iRacing. Could be
There
more.
you go. You deserve that pit because that is just lame.
It's
And
fun.
If it was Western Virginia or Western any other state, that's fine. But Western PA has a long-standing, almost 2-month tradition of coming with strong themes,
Tradition.
very strong themes, and they're just, they're not representing.
I'm not
Good
gonna
team
talk
name,
that
though.
bad. It's probably fine.
It's probably fine.
I just went out the backstretch tunnel just out into the parking lot behind the speedway just to check out the cars that folks are driving to the race here today. And I have to say I'm a little bit disturbed by what I'm seeing. And I'm going to need a little help identifying what I'm looking at.
I'm excited for this. I'm more excited than I should admit.
Virtual car. Okay,
Oh.
that's the rare Prelude 4-door sedan.
Yep.
The yellow one next to it is absolutely.
It's on some crunk ass wheels.
A quad door Prelude. That's the Quaalude? No.
Yep. That is
That's right.
it's the Quaalude.
Oh, this is the yellow one, the Daewoo.
Phil.
By the way, I'm in the house. Nice to see you, Through Pedal Mafia people.
The
You
grill is
people,
very
you
Pontiac.
people. So who do we got here? We got
What do you mean by you people?
we got Chris and Chrissy and El Jefe. How you guys doing?
We're doing very well.
Fan freaking tastic.
Do you or do you not see a Daewoo Nubira in that yellow car? I think that's a Daewoo Nubira.
Or
maybe-
it's a Mustang. It's a Mustang.
The grill
with a
says it all.
Grill. Yeah.
No, I mean what could be better? Actually, that'd be a good Lemons car. It'd be a Mustang with a Daewoo grill. But I was just thinking about this. I mean, I can only think of 2 cars that had transverse-mounted straight 6 engines available. One was the Volvo S80, and the other one was the Suzuki Verano. And no, sorry, not the Verano, the Verona. No, it is a turbo. You know, that is kind of Mustangy from the back. But anyway, we really need to have more straight 6 front-wheel drive cars in Lemons.
I agree.
Happening there. That looks like a Fiat Multipla version of a Chevy Blazer.
I was going with Multipla Smash kind of thing going on.
That's a Malibu Max.
Yes.
When you take
Yes.
When you've had a bunch of mescaline. So speaking of mescaline, what's up with the super kind of jerkety, twitchy viewpoint here? Can we?
It's his VR headset
game.
Oh, I see. So it's too much strychnine mixed into the goods.
That's right.
Plus, he's a wad of meat, so he doesn't move very well. I'm pretty sure that last one is a Honda Accord. That looks like a Chris. You could tell me what generation.
Well, these cars are parked real close together. In fact, so close together that they're merging. Is that
the middle one's a Grand Am?
Well, far right looks very Lexus ISE. Maybe I'm seeing it wrong, or GSE. Maybe no, to the right, pan to the right a little bit. There you go. I mean or maybe Acura. Might be a Legend.
I think that's our same Malibu Max. Yeah.
Oh, it is.
This is Boston traffic.
So it's like an Acura Malibu Max, which also would be a good Lemons car.
Good one. Good. Yep.
Chris, we couldn't hear you.
Oh, baby.
Just parking lot seems to have a lot of space, and yet the cars park nanometers apart. I guess that's just how iRacing does it. Oh, look, what's that car with the white stripe? Hold on a second. There's a red car.
How do you get out of that car?
You have to climb through all the other cars. You have to basically smash out all the windows.
How do you get out of the RVs that are over there to the left? Because those are all blocked.
That's all one RV. That's all the same RV.
My guess is that when they wrote the code for this, cars were smaller, and then cars got bigger, and they didn't change the code to space them in the parking lot.
Well, that's no fun. It's just an RV centipede. That's what you need to say there.
Actually, yes.
There you go.
4-lane wide Winnebago sounds pretty good to me.
What if we fed the lead RV cuttlefish? Is that bad? Am I the only one that gets that joke?
Yeah.
All right.
South Park joke.
I'm gonna flip over here. So while we were in the parking lot, Matt Sitko did take the lead from the.
The race is going on, is it not?
So the Bear Pope has gone there. In fact, I'm not even seeing the Jim Salted Meats car.
I believe he won the pits right
he did
before
because
he went to the parking lot.
Uncle Dave is currently running second in the Momrath Cheaters Trolley.
Oh, I need to pour another shot of bribe scotch here, I guess. Here we go.
Good plan.
This is Glenn Livett from what I think was Sears Point 2013. Like the second one, the R.
Nice. So you've taken your 12-year-old scotch and now you've made it 18.
It's older now, yeah. I've only recently kind of developed a taste for scotch, so I've got a lot of bottles of bribe scotch. I've gone through all the other more palatable stuff, and now I realize scotch is pretty good. So, but yeah, I've still got an awful lot of Slivovitz because I had this idea years ago, I should make sure my bribe booze collection has every kind of booze there is. So, rack and everything else and Pruno. And so I said, all right, I need to go Eastern European now. So everybody's got to bring me variations on Slivovitz, and people did. So I've got, 15 bottles of this stuff. It's pretty sweet. Problem is that Slivovitz bottles are the most likely to leak in your checked bag when you put it on an airplane, I have learned.
Oh, yeah. Just before the turtle, we had the airbrush Camaro get sideways and cut across the track, and I think he took out 3 people as he did it.
I'm just seeing little ants over there on the racetrack. I mean, it could be happening. What track is this, by the way?
New Hampshire.
Yep.
Really? Oh, I've been there many times. Yeah, except I haven't been from this vantage point. Usually we've got the drift competition going on at the same time. You've got New England toothless hillbillies drifting their, 240SX. The pumpkin throwing is pretty good.
So in the chat, they're asking about if there was ever a Ford Capri.
Oh yeah, we've had several.
Yeah, I was going to say that's pretty common sight.
You'd think that given the Capri's incredible racing heritage that they would run away with every race, but in practice, sadly, that has not proven to be the case.
What you can do is look up one of Jay Lamb's VinWiki stories, which is about
Yes,
turned
I
out
was
to
going
be
to go there.
money.
Yeah. One of the racing ones.
Kind of reminds me of this rap that a friend of mine made up when I was in high school in the early 80s about the Capri. It's like, what is it? Driving down the street in my Mercury. It's a bright yellow 76 Capri. Anti-sway bars in the front and rear, and a Playboy bunny hanging from the mirror. And you got to do a whole bunch of beatboxing that I'm not going to do. But it was definitely an early 80s sort of Capri rap.
Very nice.
Yeah.
I'll get out my trombone and back.
I'm impressed.
However, I'd like everybody to know the Mercury Capri in the United States, it was never a Mercury Capri. It was just the Capri that happened to be sold and serviced by Mercury dealers. It was its own model and its own make. It was just the Capri. So you Europeans who think that it's a Ford, when you come to this country and you start breathing our air, you have to realize you also have to call the Capri the way we call the Capri.
Even the XR2?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that actually was a Ford Laser, as I recall, which is really a Mazda. Actually, the fact is that nobody's ever heard of that car. I mean, they sold a fair number of them. The weird thing is that
I owned one.
Yeah, the sales of that overlapped with the Miata. You could actually buy two different Mazda B engine powered convertible Mazdas at the same time, identical engines, although one was front-wheel drive and one was rear-wheel drive, and I believe the Capri was cheaper. And we've had the Capris and Lemons, and they're not slow. I mean,
they're turbo.
Well, some of them are, not all of them. Most of them are not, actually, and most of them are automatics too.
Hey, Mental, you should talk about your time owning a Capri.
What kind of Capri?
It was definitely a crappy. No, it was the that Australian rebadged. We did a Babe rally, and my vehicle blew up, so I had to buy another
Babe rally. I'd forgotten all about that. I had to buy another
Babe rally car to get back to Oklahoma, and it barely made that one as well.
Well, Oklahoma's pretty centrally located. I mean, how far away could you ever be from Oklahoma? I guess if you're in Alaska, you're pretty far.
I'd say you
had to drive a Capri.
Exactly. The life expectancy of one camouflage Mercury Capri. That's about how far away we were.
So was this the front-wheel drive or the rear-wheel drive kind?
Front-wheel drive.
Okay, so it was actually a Mazda.
Yes.
So Mazda, fine quality.
So coming back to our
built that in Australia, though, didn't they?
That was an Australian Ford Laser.
Yep.
Laser. Not to be confused with the Plymouth Laser, which had the Darth Vader voice advertising.
Which I also owned.
Really? At the same time? So you just confuse yourself?
Oh dear God, no. No, I had the digital dash Dodge Daytona Plymouth Laser version. But while we were doing this also, I received a text from Dr. Florida Man Donnie saying that I am now disowned from his team, and I quote, "Go be with your Wawa friends, you heathen."
Did you just go to Wawa and buy? Actually, what's the Texas chain that has the butt nuggets? What are those called?
Buc-ee's.
Buc-ee's, right? Yeah, but what are those nuggets called? The Bucky balls, right? No, they're
butt nuggets. Just go.
I think they are Bucky balls.
Bucky balls are magnets.
No. There's so the Buc-ee's they have. It's pretty good, like this caramel corn snack that you go to the Buc-ee's in Texas and you buy a whole bunch of diesel for your F-350.
What's going on there?
And then you get some ammo from the vending machine. Did you know that Buc-ee's have ammo vending machines?
That's awesome.
We're about to be sued by Buc-ee's. We've got a long list of people lined up to sue us over the things we say on these broadcasts.
You're alienating a huge part of your audience because every Lemons racer in Texas shows up with a Buc-ee's hat, and Chris, a big fan.
I've enjoyed the Buc-ee's snacks people have given us. And then at our most recent MSR race I went to a Buc-ee's because the hotel was right next to one. It's like, man, the jerky selection is top notch, gotta say. I mean, sometimes, like when I feel like having, some grasshopper jerky.
Oh, right there on the
happened there.
3. Oh, the priority fail card just said, "F you, Pontiac. I'm a Camaro."
I still feel bad about.
A little bit of luck.
I was overly harsh with the priority fail guys at a CMP race one time, and I feel really bad about that. Sorry, guys, if they're listening.
They're driving. Sorry,
they caused some problems, but it wasn't entirely their fault. And I decided that we have to be tough on crime. Those guys have kind of paid their dues, and they've never been a problem in the penalty box. So priority fail guys, sorry about that. Keep on racing your terrible car.
Excellent.
So what are we watching here? Is this?
This right now is Uncle Dave and Momrath, the Momrath trolley. You know, it's a combo team, and he has been contesting for the lead since the standing start.
You know, I think I'm watching a different view. So somebody send me the link to the view that y'all are watching, because I'm seeing something different here.
Getting the you're not getting the bearded sim racing input.
He's watching my I'm watching my VR feed.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh yeah, stop doing that.
Well, give me a link then. I mean, sorry, we got some technical difficulties here, folks. You know.
Stand by 2 seconds. It's coming.
Let me sniff a little more Scotch guard. I want a paper bag. Okay, now I'm better.
All right, let me see if I can find Phil in this one. I'm gonna probably disconnect while
technology is impossible.
I'm gonna go to my regular computer here. Judge Phil.
Well, while you guys are figuring that out, I'll keep calling the race.
There you
Oh,
go.
no, we don't need that.
Cars, they keep going around and around, but nobody really cares.
Yeah, I was like, there's a race going on? Weird.
Okay, either a demon with a really bad pack-a-day habit just took over the chat, or something.
No, that was the Lord
audio.
Younger saying it was a puny plan.
Shit's getting way too complicated for me.
All right.
So somebody in the chat realized that this Doug Ellison Tagley, oops, we just passed it. Doug Ellison Tagley Mustang is the same livery as there it is. Same livery as the
Todd
Larson's ass biscuits, and I think Pennison. But I have to give them a little gruff because the Pennison on the driver's door is not in the right position, because if you open the driver's door, it wouldn't say penis.
You know, I'm just disappointed that when people have a livery on their car, there's no liver involved.
Well, but now we know what to do for next week.
Well, you guys have the gray meat theme, so, you know. All right, so far nobody's sent me a link to this.
I just did. I just sent it to you in Discord.
All right, now I see it. I think you mean Peniston, right?
Yeah, it's but the T is on the door, so like it kind of loses the effect if you don't get it positioned.
So on the YouTube chat, Fuchs was talking about how he had to push a rusty Jetta up on a trailer with bad wiring and had to redo the wiring, so they felt like they got their lemons dose for the day, which I do feel that the underside of my nails have been unusually clean these last few months, and I no longer have these bizarre wounds in my hands to explain to anyone on Monday morning. I sympathize.
So I guess your pickup truck's still not working.
Oh, God, no.
It's also because he bought his latest daily driver from me, and therefore
exactly.
it's fine.
It's better than fine.
Are the back tires bald yet?
No, I've been behaving myself begrudgingly.
There is just no Camaro that goes through turn 3 without taking out every single cone.
Why? Now stay on it. Let's stay on that priority fail, because they're going to come up to the top of the hill and watch him take out all the cones. And I get it. It's part of his racing line, but he is so precise with this. Now, never mind. We're already down.
But they're going to be set up immediately anyway.
Exactly, because New Hampshire works hard.
Yeah, the course worker really just runs very, very quickly. That's what it comes down to.
Dave and the second place Camaro bird has pulled into the pits.
It's probably
number
doing
888.
Change. You know, in talking about
early for that, isn't it?
We had our episode of favorite bathrooms that we race at, and New Hampshire definitely made that top 5 list. Good bathrooms.
I believe they had it set up so
Except for the outside ones that only have cold water.
The thing that's nice about the New Hampshire bathrooms is that the very important race officials who work the race get to have a key to the media lounge, where there's a bathroom that no racers have evacuated their bowels into for a while. So there's no gray meat sort of scrapple based. You know that yellowish brown mist that sort of forms in the air at a racetrack bathroom? There's none of that there. You just go in and It's like it's never been used.
I like that you think that's the grossest thing we do in that bathroom. Get Jeff to tell you the story of defrosting all the turkeys in the shower.
No, if you want to talk gross, you got to talk about the pyramid of poop that comes out of the porta potties at Ginger Man. Oh God, they're gonna sue us. Sorry, Ginger Man, didn't mean it.
We'll just switch back to the pit toilets at Nelson's Ledges.
Oh, well, they didn't even have toilets. They didn't even have holes in the ground. They just had the ground. That was your toilet. Oh, I have found the ground. I'm ready to go. So first you had to light 7 Marlboro lights. And then maybe if you were feeling extra civilized, you might squat a little bit, or otherwise just poop while you're walking. It was fine. The rules of civilization did not apply, and I'm pretty sure they still do not apply there. Oh God, they're suing us. Oh no, they can't sue us. They're too busy suing their creditors or being sued by.
Summit Point had that one concrete room thing.
Summit Point in the U.S. Virgin Islands, right?
And the summit, in the U.S. Virgin Islands, the place where Hyperfest used to occur. But they would have they would have the paper mache, concrete in the side because no one could get any of the toilet paper in the single toilet that we would all use all weekend.
Oh God, sorry, hold on. That's my Denver curfew alert on my phone. Hang on a second. No, seriously, yes, we're under curfew now because the city's on fire.
Yep.
Most cities seem to be on fire this weekend.
Well, I'm right near downtown and basically been dodging bullets all day.
That's just a normal day, though, in Denver.
Pretty much, yeah. It's pretty much the same thing as Mogadishu, 1991.
So now in third place, so they only lost one place doing their driver change, but Amanda Tully is now in the Derpy Cheshire Cat Trolley Cheaties car.
Wow, you said that really smoothly, like you didn't even stumble over a single syllable.
That is a professional broadcaster right there.
I know, I could never do that. I'd be like, oh, have some more Scotch Guard, and maybe it'll all blur together.
You missed the epic podcast intro, though, Phil.
Did I?
It was like the most. It was the most organized
done.
thing I've ever heard.
We can do it again. We got time.
Who did it?
The podcast.
All the podcast people. It was amazing.
Is that us? No, that's not. Oh yeah, that's right. No. The Three Pedal Mafia. You guys have you guys are incredibly wealthy podcast billionaires now, aren't you?
That's
exactly.
Right.
Yes, we are.
I need to get on the podcast gravy train. I understand it's like basically a money printing press.
You guys owe us so much money for us being here.
You're gonna sue us? Everyone else is. Go ahead.
Oh, the number 2 car, Sitco, getting pushed by the 808 Solstice, going up the hill. And now he's getting flipped.
Stop the presses.
He ain't having none of that. He just keeps his foot in it because
he almost got the boulder.
Well, the rule number 1 here is there's no damage on this race, so you can actually be.
Oh, there is though.
Oh, is there? Okay.
It looks like there's damage on most of the cars, but the Camaros seem to always be slightly less dented whenever they hit something else.
Now, I would like to see it with iRacing, and one of my many feature requests is damage to your body, where it actually registers injuries. Like you just ate your roll cage. Okay, fine. You're all broken down. It could actually show like a little rotating mannequin of all the damage that had been caused to your person. Like Jeff Glenn was talking about this when he was a professional racer. He got in a really hard wreck, an open wheeler somewhere. I think it was actually Sears Point, where all his internal organs got moved around, and it took like a week for them to go back into the normal positions. He says, it's a very strange sensation knowing that your liver is where your heart's supposed to be. So I was thinking iRacing could actually kind of emulate that. Like, oh, you're not feeling so good, so your reaction times are slower. By the way, this is a good time now to bring up a suggestion that Bob Harnsberger, the creator of the Renault R5 Turbo, aka Le Car with Infinity i30 engine, he came up with this brilliant idea. Sorry, that's my text message. What you do is for your controller, you have an old Norge range top stove, right?
Oh,
and you actually have all the burners going and a temperature sensor in a pot of water on each burner that detects left turn, right turn, throttle, brake. So when you want to accelerate, you turn up the heat on that burner, and there's a little bit of a delay as the water heats up, and then it gives you some throttle. And same thing with all the turns. So you're controlling the burners on your Norge stove and driving your car that way. I think that would be incredible, and I think we need to do that.
But you have to anticipate everything like X seconds in advance.
Well, yeah, but real driving requires that you do some anticipation, maybe not as much, but I think that there's something, and in fact, to make things more interesting, you might put like paint thinner in one of the pots. See, you don't want to get it all boiling too high. You know what I mean? I think there's potential here.
Flaming paint thinner, that is a plan for success. We did have two interesting points as a Bird for Life, I believe, it scrolled by too fast, said you should see some of the oval cars that they raced in. A creek would have been a step up for the bathrooms. And also, Brandon Judy mentioned, hey, Phil, when the looters come, you just bribe the looters with your collection of bribe booze, and they'll leave your house alone.
I suppose. Yeah, no,
that's not how looters work.
When it comes time for looting, only. Actually, I mean, they might be looting me for the bribe booze, but like I said, I've got the biggest selection of Slivovitz in southern Denver, so they might know about that.
Exactly.
That is highly prized, as I understand it.
Exactly. Like nothing fuels looting like Slivovitz. In fact, that was the Slivovitz Promotion Council's slogan. When you're looting, loot with Slivovitz. God, I'm actually unable to say the word Slivovitz. So I understand that.
Enough.
I really need to. Actually, I should be drinking that for this race rather than scotch. I've just started too. Basically, I need to have a couple more drinks to kind of loosen up my tongue a little bit so that I can flow through those long, complicated groups of syllables.
Because we can't get a word out of you otherwise. You're just not saying a word.
If you'd like me to talk more, I can do that. Just
while Phil was ranting about turning iRacing into "You Have Died of Dysentery" Oregon Trail, Doug Ellison managed to move into first place. So that means the one single Mustang with the Penniston Oil sponsorship is now leading.
It's Peniston with a T, not Peniston. I know this because we've had several Lemons teams with that theme. There's a T in there. It's Peniston, which is actually a real city in England. And I'm not going to say anything about a lot of kind of, genetically questionable inbreeding that happens in those small towns in England. But if I were to talk about that, Peniston would be one of those places where that happens.
Well, I believe
I didn't actually talk about that, so England can't sue me. See what I'm doing here? Because they have libel laws there.
Yeah, Jay and Silent Bob, Black Maven Motorsports, Solstice.
Ooh, I like
seems
the
to be little Star Wars
you saw
helmet.
that in the Spec Racer Ford event he had.
Yeah.
Or Jeff's actual race helmet has that exact same logo.
Exactly. Yeah, the Spec Racer Ford, he flips upside down, and we could totally make out the entire Rebel flight suit for his driving suit. It was
He
well
also
done.
cut in front of a Jetta, and all we saw was the helmet, if you guys remember.
I do remember that. That was epic. Good one.
Hey, Eric,
Just
what
turned
is
myself
the
into digger cam in turn one right now, and the sensation of all these cars coming straight at your face is interesting.
Stay right there. Stay right there. Don't move. Don't move. Woo.
Ah!
No! Nice. That is fun.
It's yeah, it's interesting.
Did you poo a little? A little kid?
No,
The Vance Miata, that one was Camaro in the
Let's talk about that poo, shall we? Were there corn and peanuts in it? Because I want to know that.
There was, and I haven't ordered peanuts for months.
This is real race broadcasting here. Actually, I really didn't even need to come in here because we've got Three Pedal Mafia on the case. I mean, they're good at this stuff.
We're everyone racers.
But I felt like I would just sort of add something to it. You know what I mean?
You do, Phil.
Yeah. But I mean, Three Pedal Mafia, they pretty much get it. By the way, not to sound like you guys are kind of being challenged or anything, but I mean, the Knox Vegas Lowballers are talking about building one of the most amazing engines of all time. I think it's time for Three Pedal Mafia to step up with a really stupid engine swap. So start shopping. I think two V10.
You should mention that because we're building a swapped car. So.
Well, no, I mean, I want to see two V10s end to end for a V20.
That sounds.
And I want it in a Packard Baker.
Ooh, I like that.
Budget exemption. Well, actually, budget exemption for any V10, but double V10s, we'll give you money. I mean, Eric will give you money.
That's right.
especially if it's steamed as a potato. So
Do I have to get started about my demands for a proper three-dimensional vegetable-themed car that can be identified as a vegetable all the way across the racetrack? I think I don't need to do that because
we're already talking about this.
You're being told to stop looking at Twitch Meth Head chat and check out the YouTube chat, Phil.
I'm not looking at any Twitch. I don't even have Twitch. Twitch is what you get when your acid's been cut with too much strychnine, all right? I don't do that. I'm way too old for Twitch. I mean, you're lucky I'm even on Discord right now.
And your poop talk got Stephanie Schrader all interested.
Well, Steph has a fascination with both puffalumps and poop. I'm just going to say. And her vendetta against Barber, which I really don't understand.
Oh, you missed Dr. Florida Man's livery on Thursday night. It was the Steph Schrader broken record.
Really? Oh, that's a good one. Yeah. Let's just say that those of us who are Lemons officials we've had a lot of complaints for the complaint department from Steph about her ill treatment at our hands. I'm just going to say, the puffalumps just weren't persuasive enough. They weren't talking to us in their little puffalump voices, compellingly enough. And that's just the problem we have with puffalumps. Actually, I have to say, I didn't realize that puffalumps were actually a real product. I thought she invented them. The first dozen races that she'd bring, it's like, okay, so she's invented these stuffed animals. She's kind of one of those crazy stuffed animal people that sews her own stuffed animals. I didn't realize till much later that no, this was a fairly well-known product that I just missed out. I just missed out on the puffalump sensation. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
So Phil, apparently you weren't doing enough psychedelics to know that the puffalumps can talk to you if you care.
Well, I mean, if you do enough psychedelics, everything talks to you. I mean, viruses talk to you. In fact, viruses are talking to me right now just because of residual psychedelics. And I don't mean like your average garden variety ones. I mean, I'm talking about like, I don't know, what's a really obscure psychedelic? LBJ, that's a good one. No, there really was a psychedelic called LBJ. I'm not really sure. I think it's from the meth family, like MDMA is, but it kind of went out of favor, I guess. So
I love
those of you out there,
their picnic every 4th of July.
The LBJ overdose picnic.
The meth family picnic.
The meth family picnic?
Yes. You said
that sounds like something that happens at Summit Point. Did I just say that? Sorry, and now Summit Point and the entire state of West Virginia is going to sue us.
Fine.
Yes, because they have internet. The last time I went up in the stands, Phil wasn't here.
Oh.
And I really want to get Phil's take on the crowd.
Anton.
In the same spot. Anton did the same thing.
Look at the number of
the turtle.
Look at the number of people wearing tie-dye shirts, for one thing. But they're like really affordable tie-dye shirts. Like, oh man, I'm not gonna pay some hippie $2 for a tie-dye shirt. I want a 50-cent tie-dye shirt, and that's what we've got here. So you can go to the thrift store, buy a shirt for 10 cents when you buy the clothes by the pound. And you tie-dyed in the blue water from the porta potty. That's what we got here.
So this is basically an Old Navy commercial.
All right, here comes Anton coming back down through. He's going to catch the gator, or the turtle, rather.
I actually have to say, I'm surprised Anton's still doing this because he seemed a little bent out of shape by the.
So yeah, carrying a ton of speed there, and then he just launches.
The problems that people have. Oh, there we go. Okay, he disappeared.
He knew that was coming. He's like,
so if we had the human body damage kind of counter iRacing feature enabled, we would have seen right now that his intestines came out his nose. See, look at that. That's about 50 feet.
You have died of dysentery.
I never actually played that game. I mean, it sounds like a really good one, and I'm familiar with it because, okay, by the way, watch this. We just saw the Peniston Olds. Did you see the T in there? Peniston? From the inbreeding capital of England, which is now suing us.
Yeah,
I think that's all in Brazil.
Aren't you all glad that I checked in here so we can talk about inbreeding and lawsuits and intestines coming out your nose?
And meth families.
Actually, I'll regret this question, but I'm going to go up because you came in the middle of our gas station conversation, and you, having traveled the country, are a connoisseur of good gas station snacks. Where do you fall on the Sheetz versus Wawa?
What was the first one?
Sheetz.
I've never even heard of that. Is that a chain?
Yes, absolutely.
Is that like the Flying J, but like more downscale?
Oh. Maybe we just need to open it up and say, Judge Phil, when you're driving across the country, where's your favorite spot to stop for gas and a sandwich at the same location?
I have to admit that, like, I'm a little bit of a coastal elitist urban snob, and I don't eat a lot of gas station food. Generally, what I'll do is I'll bring a camp stove with me, and some like beans, and I'll cook them up on my camp stove at a campsite someplace. And when we travel for lemons, I mean, we kind of, maybe this is Jay's doing, but like we try to avoid any kind of fast food at all. And then we kind of avoid, we'll get jerky and stuff at like a Buc-ee's, because jerky's kind of.
There you go, Buc-ee's.
But I mean, we're the sort of coastal elitists with lots of education that Richard Nixon hated the most. Although really, he had a law degree from Duke, so we didn't have a leg to stand on there. And can we talk about Richard Nixon's gigantic, pulsating, venous and heinous penile appendage now, just for the rest of the broadcast?
No.
Sure.
Okay, sorry.
No.
Carry on.
We actually we brought this up on Tuesday.
Would you like me to?
Everyone kept saying Jay wrote a smut book, and we're like, no, Phil wrote.
No, that was totally Jay. You should sue Jay if you're emotionally harmed by that book, because it was totally Jay. I bet Jay has written smut. Jay's written everything. He won't admit it. I mean, I've done junk mail. I'm coming out and saying that right now because I have no shame. And in fact, here's a weird experience. Like, I wrote junk mail, and then I'd be walking down the street, and I'd see my junk mail in gutter trash. I was like, wow, that was me. that was me that created that. I feel
that's how you know you've made it, right there. Yeah. Hey, look, there's my work.
So I think that really, because Jay, I have to say, like, Jay's actually a hell of an editor too. Jay is a really hardcore pro in the writing business. I know Jay has done porn, and I bet it's Slovakian.
But he was the stunt cock? Is that what it was?
I bet Jay has done some real edgy sort of porn that makes anything else that you people might be into seem pretty vanilla. And I can never look at it.
We're the ones that did the S&M theme.
No, that's nothing. Like, S&M is like, ordinary people now. Actually, now that we're all locked in our houses, we're discovering new things that have now become vanilla. I think Jay's writing in the porn world is so extreme that we can't even talk about it without being sued by religion.
Yep.
We're going to get sued by the kitchen counter board.
No, sued by religion. So, I've actually got a copy of Torment Incorporated handy right now. If you'd like me to do a little audiobook reading from that, I certainly could.
Phil, we all bought your we bought that.
You did. You bought the Kindle.
We did the theme.
Well, only 6,000.
Yeah.
I only need to sell 6,000 more Kindle copies to get 8 cents or 8 pence of royalty payments from Virgin Books. So actually, it'd be easier if you would just send me cash and I'd send you a PDF of the book. Oh God, I'm gonna get sued by Virgin now.
I had my downloaded copy and I was reading it on the operations floor of the Jordanian Military Operations Center in Jordan.
Really?
So yeah,
it's probably illegal there.
Probably.
Actually, it's funny. I just got an email from Google saying that I'm not getting any revenue now from all the advertising on the Merely Martin website homepage because it's been categorized as pornography. Like, well, all right then. I guess in a sense it is. Although there's no pornography on my website, it just links to my incredibly powerful and compelling work of literature that happens to have some sadomasochistic sexual themes in it, which are nowhere near as disturbing as what I imagined the Puffalump universe to be. I'm just going to put that out there right now.
I think it's all the links to the mentions of Richard Nixon's giant penis that is the cause.
Well, it wasn't so much that it was giant, but that it was glistening and translucent. Can we talk about that some more? And that reminds me, when we first started racing in Texas, I had to say, like, there's a lot of Texas racers who, well, they put up a heterosexual front, but really they're thinking about glistening cowboy abs a lot. And I mean, I understand that. I mean, there's nothing sexier than an oiled up cowboy. But these Texans seem uncomfortable with facing that part of their own desires. And so we tried to bring that out when we did the studs and spurs penalty. We found in the Walmart.
I was just about to say, who came up with the studs and spurs?
Well, they actually had a calendar available at the Walmart near Angleton that was called Studs and Spurs, and it was very hard, kind of sexy yet brooding Texas gentlemen with cowboy hats and not much else on a calendar. And we bought this calendar. We would make our racers, who sadly were not quite as six-packy as these guys, if you know what I mean, act out some of the poses from Studs and Spurs. And we noticed at that point that it was still making some of these guys a little tingly, if you know what I'm saying. So I think there's a lot of unexplored sexuality going on among racers in Texas that I think these guys should just let go and embrace their inner lust for hot young cowboys with oiled up pecs. I'm just saying.
And now you're being sued by Texas.
Texas is, well, they have to get in line, behind religion.
Texas waits for England.
And actually, the UN Texas occupation penalty was one of our greatest penalties of all time. I remember back when a whole bunch of Texas sheriffs decided they were in fear that the UN was going to invade Texas for some reason, and they established anti-UN posses. So we made the UN occupation penalty, where we actually had the United Nations tax form 666, which is basically all about how many guns do you have, and then how much we're going to tax you on each one. And some of them saw the humor in it, but others were, man, this is exactly how it's going to be when the United Nations takes over.
Oh no! Our second place car just got taken out by and they took out the
Tully
leader.
just got tullied. Look at that.
Oh my
What a
God!
shame.
And they've taken out Doug Ellison. So if they're going to be able to come up behind that?
Can I point out that it is the same Solstice that seems to be doing all the damage with all the leaders?
Well, that's
808 Pontiac. It is number. See, I thought it was 808.
Oh, wait, who's driving that? Jesse Ports. What team is that in the real world?
In a second, I'll find out.
All right.
Jesse Ports. They are Devo Local 33 and a third, and they're pulling into the pits to make sure that their car, either that or their crew chief just went, get out of the car.
This is why we really need Eric, because Eric could tell us the inseam size of everyone on that team.
Yeah, he knows that stuff. Eric's kind of got a spreadsheet for all these things.
Jesse was a rally participant.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah.
Wow, that is
rally.
Quite the crash.
People that do the rally, I mean, they've done the gateway drug, and soon they'll be buying, 19 Buick Regals. And I don't mean the G-body Regals. I mean the real Regals.
Real ones.
So we're on board with
y'all got any more of them front drive GM cars? It's all right.
There's an endless supply of those.
Got any more of that crack? All right,
no, seriously, spec shitty front-wheel drive GM car is going to be the greatest series of all time.
Hang on, Phil, hang on a second. This is going to be a good one.
Okay.
So here we go. Pontiac, Tully's Tully, and we get a domino effect.
So this is the 4th place, 3rd place, and 2nd place.
Here we go.
Data crash.
That's real racing. Yeah, there's priority fail going on there. That wasn't really his fault.
No. But this is the thing that gets everyone's getting collected up in that. Oh wow!
So, I was thinking it'd be fun if we had a bell that we would ring every time there was a crash, and we have a bell. It's like a doorbell, but the thing is, our cat rings it for food. So instead of ringing the bell,
hold on a second. I got the solution.
Oh, and Matt Sitko has taken that big dog car with just over 3 minutes left in the middle of this race. Matt Sitko's taken that big dog Camaro into first place, and Tony Payne is now out of there with the Brit Car Tiago Reserves Mustang, and they've managed to hold on to at least second.
All right, I just went and gathered up our indicator bell here. It's the 1897 Wisconsin cowbell. Yep, there you go. Okay.
An hour and 3 minutes, not 3 minutes, because it's cut off on our view.
I said 3 minutes until the midpoint of the race. It was what I meant to say was 3 minutes from the midpoint. Thank you. My bad.
So to go back
I like that cowbell.
Well, actually, that was my wife's great-great-grandmother in Milwaukee in her cowbell, and we have it now. It's in my office for some reason, so when things are too quiet around here, I ring it. So I was going to say, on a more serious note, back to that horrible crash. In a real race, I would be telling all the participants when they came into the penalty box. Actually, in reality, they'd all be on an ambulance. But okay, let's say they come into the penalty box and be saying, all right, so you saw this chaos developing 3 laps ahead of that, and you kept your foot in it. Why not just back out of it and let all those guys wreck each other, and then you race to victory? And just the blank stare I usually get from them, kind of. But still, it's you can smell the chaos approaching. I mean, all of you know it. You can see it's about to happen.
Absolutely.
And that's what I always tell people. What I always tell the Lemons racers to do is go look at some of Cerveza Racing's in-car video from Sears Point, where I don't know how they do it because apparently they don't use a spotter. I'm skeptical on that, but you'll see they'll be going all out at Sears, which is a real crashy, crowded track, and then 3 corners before some horrible thing happens, they'll be backing out of it. The driver will be backing out of it. No one knows why. They just do it. It's like they're psychic. And then by the time when this horrible, 8-car pileup happens, they're just safely away from it and just zoom right around it. They do it over and over and over again all weekend long. I mean, that's what people should be doing. Okay.
Yes.
Now back to talking about gigantic glistening Texas.
Sean, were you in the car with Priority Fail there riding shotgun?
I'm in the car with Philip right now. I was not in the car when everything went wrong a few minutes ago, but I decided to hop in just to see whether that affected him or not, and it doesn't seem to, other than the fact that he has literally nothing coupling his steering wheel to the actual steering column.
That's straight out of
Well, that's kind of a Detroit.
That could be an issue.
That's a Detroit thing, though. I mean, a lot of cars came off the assembly lines, especially in the Chrysler universe, with not much of a connection between steering wheel and steering gear.
That's a dealer problem. Ship it.
Yeah, you see this factory defect, right? Can you see it? Because I'm looking right at it.
No, I remember I knew a guy that worked at the Fremont assembly plant that became Numi and then the Tesla plant, where he was saying he was working on the air conditioning line, and he said if anything at all happened when you hit the air conditioning control, like a horrible explosion, whatever, it passed. When you switch on the air conditioning, if something happened, the car passed. So I'm just saying. And then GM standards were much more strict than Chrysler's. So I think you're being too strict by asking for a connection between steering wheel and steering. Well, I'm going to say worm gear.
With steer-by-wire coming into play, it could very well be steer-by-wire in this 77 street stock Camaro.
Sure.
Camaro updating all the time.
Steer-by-wire to Camaro would be like, 0-gauge welding cable, with big wire nuts, like those giant wire nuts they use, I think that's my Camaro kind of view of that. Although we've actually had a fair number of teams now using Saturn View electric power steering on their cars, and
absolutely,
Can we
use one of those?
Can we back it up to car number 3, Melanie Walker and Cash Money? Because we've seen that number 3 Solstice go terrifically off, and I'm wondering what brought her into there with that blowed up motor.
We don't have to go off.
That's not gone well.
Here.
All right,
hold on a second. The Solstice is inhaling.
Okay, so it was already crashy. So something had happened, and then it goes off. Oh,
bad driving.
Yeah.
Clang. Where's the bell, Phil?
Yeah. You've died of dysentery.
I'm on board now with Melanie, and I'm sort of sitting behind the passenger seat.
Oh,
I'm scared for my life.
That was death right there. That was like they don't even bother to take you to the hospital, just straight to the grave.
Should I get out of her car now, or should I hang out and just see what happens?
No, I think you'll be fine.
Wait for the car. Absolutely.
Isn't this when we have the F in the chat?
You'll be getting your mail by groundhog if you say.
Oh, there we go. Just augured in. Just augured in.
No, augering implies like a rotational thing. This is a straight in 90-degree impact, 800 Gs, totally dead.
Well,
and this is the way that iRacing
was turned, but
but the car was not.
Yeah, the steering wheel was turned, and then there was terminal understeer, and then more steering was added because we all know that's exactly what you need to do in that situation.
What I find most disappointing about these races, I just find that you can't crash into the audience in this race. I mean, that's just
you can. You have to try really hard.
The audience. like a bunch of bowling pins flying. It's a feature request. I want to see audience flying like bowling pins.
Can someone roll safety out here to Melanie because she's not moving? Yeah, she's not moving. Okay,
Driver's dead.
The chest paddle.
Yeah, she just went back to the pit.
Yeah.
So having actually raced a Solstice at this track, I can tell you, once it gets to understeer, that's it. It's gonna do that until it scrubs off all its speed.
I think we need to understand about the Solstice is it showed us that Detroit was back. The Solstice story I have from Jay Lamb. So back when Jay was a car journalist up until like the late 2000s, yes, exactly. And because Corvette magazine, the Solstice was like the mini Corvette, he went to the Solstice launch event, which I believe Jay would have described as a hot dogs and tents event, if you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, he goes to the Solstice. It wasn't even a Solstice launch. It was like a view of the prototype Solstice. So they had, prototype Solstices, and Jay's like, man, I can't adjust the seat. I can't fit in the seat. I can't open the door. Everything's not working right. But, it's a pre-production vehicle. It's fine. It's going to be okay once they solve all these problems. And then he got a Solstice to review when it was the production one. All of the same problems were still there. You couldn't reach the seat adjuster because the flange hanging off the carpeting was in the way, where several drunks in Hamtramck failed to hit it with their shears. And at the same time, that makes me
made in Delaware. Come on,
that makes me love the Solstice even more, and I kind of want one.
Chris, did you say the Solstice was made in Delaware?
Was it really made in Delaware?
According to the sticker that was on the door jamb of ours that I saw a lot as I was working the damn thing, it said, yes, made in Delaware, in Newcastle, what is now the Fisker, or like a variation of the Fisker plant.
Is that the only thing ever made in Delaware?
Yes, aside from business bankruptcies and tax shelters. That's the other thing.
I go to Bermuda for
also tax-free alcohol. It's great. We go to Delaware to buy our booze because it's so much cheaper.
Oh, that's like in Colorado. You go to Wyoming to buy high explosives. So like in Colorado, they've got all kinds of communist laws. In Wyoming, you can buy dynamite at the convenience store. Like, I need some dynamite to blow up some stumps. Oh yeah, we got that for you, sir. And would you like some Slim Jims to go with it? So it's only about 80 miles away to Wyoming from here. So basically, you buy your weed here, go to Wyoming, buy your explosives, and then you've got the ideal combination for blowing off all your fingers.
Sounds like a great Saturday.
Yeah, it is. It's basically Saturday right here. Another good thing about Wyoming is that cars older. Oh, go ahead.
Sony is not helping, or the Xbox controller is not helping Donnie out at all.
Well, Donnie kind of drives like that with a regular car too. I mean, no offense, Donnie, but
part of it is
an LS400 started the same way.
Crypto, put your pinky out.
Actually, Donnie, the race Camry, Donnie's race Camry has gotten to be rather capable, and they would probably be in the top 15, as Gentleman Dave pointed out to him, but he refuses to practice his pit stops. But yeah, the race Camry's actually gotten pretty good, and Donnie has gotten quite competent behind the wheel.
As I always tell teams, there's no point in making your pit stops quicker if you haven't done the other 100 things you need to get perfected before you bother with that. So I think like not breaking the car, not locking the tools in the trailer, all those stuff, get that done, then worry about your pit stops.
Donnie pulled into the pit, speaking of.
I don't think that was intentional.
So watch the tools are going to be locked in the trailer. You do that in iRacing?
From inside the Damn It Doug Racing Jetta, brought to you by Uber and Lyft. Check this view out. This is amazing.
Bring it up. We're looking forward to it.
I've started seeing cars with Uber and Lyft stickers in the junkyard now. I mean, that's where we've come now. Like, you use your car for Uber, and then next week it's a you pull and pay.
Yes. Chris, what do you got?
Was our Solstice? I was at your house today. Is it done? Is it moving along? I mean, is our Solstice now a West Coast car?
It is, absolutely. It pulled out of here at 12:15 this West Coast time. It has been completely de-acing Garried. It is now it looks like a dirty silver beat-up Solstice.
That's kind of what it's always been. Yeah.
Slightly disappointing, but not really. I mean, it's always going to be disappointing.
So Eric, I've got kind of a personal question for Eric. I mean, whatever happened to your Oldsmobile? Do you still have it?
I sold it to Albert Wenzel, who cut the top off of it and took it on a rally. It's now El Camino. He's
perfect for that. Did the wheels that I got to you via Lemons Express get to that car? I mean,
yeah.
Okay, good.
Ran with the Steelies with the
because I pulled those wheels off a really nice, a real cherry old Silhouette.
That's right. That's right.
And then via the Lemons Parts Express, I gave them to a team that was coming from the Midwest that came to High Plains Raceway in Colorado, and they brought some other team that brought it to you, and then now they are. I'm glad that those wheels still exist then.
In fact, that car painted up in its Chilean paint job was actually featured in my World of Lemons used car video.
Oh,
baby, we're going to get the video.
We spoke about this earlier. This is
ready for a surprise party? Surprise party.
Here we go. We're running.
This is, description.
This is an actual race in New Hampshire. You can see above that's a Rusty Penny, Bad Penny Racing 510, and the Coin Slot Racing Civic, purple and white.
So there's similar names.
Dirty Penny Coin Slot. How fitting.
Watch the right side of your screen, everybody, after this.
Just watch the right.
Right side. Here we come. And
that was
surprise party.
Can we recreate that in iRacing is what I want to know.
It has happened, yes.
I mean, can we actually have the wheel coming in the window?
I don't know.
Because it seems like they merge a little bit more than they did.
That's happened this race, actually, I think.
Well, I know, but I mean, another feature request that I'd like to put in for iRacing. In addition to these, basically like a little mannequin that rotates in front of you, showing how much of your body has been damaged, is more realistic, parts flying off and parts going into windows of cars.
Now,
should I just start doing a whole bunch of feature requests and
here we go. Bam! Oh, that's beautiful.
Now, Christy, you spoke to the driver right after this event. How would you say he was feeling?
Oh my gosh, he was white. There was nothing in his eyes.
Well,
he was terrified.
He was born white, so
and he did not thrust at all.
In fact, I'd have to say, like the Sorry for Party guys, they're whiter than usual, if you know what I mean.
Yes. Yeah, but he was visibly shaken.
You're talking about the Sorry for Party guy, not the other guy, not the victim of Sorry for Party.
No.
Correct. The guy who drove through the window.
Well, we should
before
talk
we got
to
the video.
We should talk to the person driving that. Well, actually, what was the car that got the Sorry for Party wheel in the window? Who was that?
I don't actually.
You know what? They've been lost in the sands.
Mid-80s 300ZX.
I'm trying to remember what it was.
I mean, it's like we remember the protagonists in this cruel drama. We're only remembering the one at fault. Well, I don't know if they're really at fault.
Yes, in the chat they're asking. Yes, it was Sorry for Party. It was Matt from Sorry for Party.
Well, no, we know it was Sorry for Party. That's a given. I mean, because you can tell by the color of the wheel.
It was Dog Speed 300Z, but I couldn't even tell you what it was.
Dog Speed. Let me look it up on the Stalker tool real quick.
I mean, no, we don't have one of those.
No, yeah, we don't. Never mind. I can't do that. I'm going to get sued by the UN.
Going to the...
I mentioned Albert Wenzel, by the way, and you were mentioning dumb engine swaps. I do know that both he and Mike Krenzer from Bad Decisions Racing are bringing amazing fourth gen F-body engine swaps this year.
Well, those guys are the guys that could do something really dumb with a swap like that.
They're exceedingly dumb.
However, I mean, we just lost the New Jersey race. I'm hoping the one out. What's the one after that? Kansas, right?
Gingerman.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I'm signed up to work that one, but I might just have to show up anyway, unless, of course, it's turned out to be a viral catastrophe. Oh God, viruses are going to sue us.
So
they're just going to come find you.
We have some people in the chat suggesting that it was the Z31 300Z.
I mean, I could figure it out if I had to, if I really got devoted to the idea of looking it up, because I actually know what race that was and all that. But that seems like work. I think I'd rather just snort some Slivovitz.
So Eric, you were mentioning that there was some 4th gen Camaro swaps happening. Now, is that the LS from a 4th gen going into something, or something fun going into a 4th gen?
The engine from Bad Decisions 4th gen is in something else now, and they're swapping something else into the 4th gen.
I hope it's not a General Motors engine, because it's much better if it's not. Okay.
No, it's not.
Please tell me it's a Chrysler V10, because I really want to see that swap.
No, it's not, but you're barking up the right tree.
Will I like it?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
It runs. I've seen video of the car running. It's going to be amazing.
So it runs, sort of.
Yeah.
Shit's getting way too complicated for me.
That's right.
By the way, Howard Dean's back in the news. I just noticed he's in charge of the Biden campaign's electronic polling. So Howard Dean not only is not dead, he's still screaming in public.
And he's giving people the poll.
Yeah, there you go.
Always good.
Yeah, he's doing some poll, all right.
So I hate to discuss the race when we're having such a great conversations about polls and things, but car 000,
Shit's getting way too
which is
complicated for me.
first, and car 73, which is second, and car 888, which is third, are now all on the same minute and on the same lap after all of the crashiness that had happened.
Actually, there's a great battle shaping up for 3rd and 4th between Uncle Dave and I believe Philip in the priority fail. This is actually going to be fun. You guys remember when Alex Levinson's Jetta broke the laws of physics? Because I'm getting that same feeling off the back wheel of Uncle Dave's Camaro.
I wouldn't get too excited about things this far from the checkered. One thing we've learned working actual Lemons races is that the Lemons organizers don't pay any attention to the standings till like an hour before
we don't care about the standings. It's just a great battle. This is just a good battle.
Well, I mean, we're going to be the last 10 minutes before we really get excited about it. I mean, yes. I mean, obviously, my spleen has already been excreted out my nostril by now over just pure excitement. But we're a little early for that. So let's go into talking about Lemons engine swaps and root vegetables we'd like to see. No, go ahead. Talk about your racing.
We're still working on the fist. Donnie and I had a great plan.
Oh, well, we
were going to get you your fist after a Lemons rally.
You know, people keep torturing me with this promise of doing a fistmobile. And again, I mean, I kind of prefer the giant fist that actually does some fisting action. But again, just as is the case with the root vegetable, you need to be able to recognize it as a moving, twisting fist from across the track. And I don't mean a little track. I mean like Thunder Hill. I want to be able to tell that's a penetrating, stimulating Texas cowboy with oiled up pecs, sort of a twisting fist going on from half a mile away. So make that happen. And
what if
I've been trying to figure out how to do
them and went with Fistato?
You know, I really think that we need to get back to the subject of puff lumps here. Just saying.
No.
Yeah.
Hang on. We're not done with the twisting fist.
Okay, so basically, there's one school of thought with the fistmobile that says just a giant fist on the car. That's the whole car is a humongous three-dimensional fist. That's fine. I mean, I'm not going to have any complaints about that. I mean, I'm going to say, but I also like the idea not only of a fist that moves and twists as you drive, but that the speed of the fisting is correlated with the speed of the car. Or if you really want to figure out how to do, you could make it the speed of the engine.
We're trying to figure out how to do a good Idiocracy theme, including the Dildozer and the Ass Blaster that actually moved.
Rehabilitation.
It's a tough thing to do. Like we got the Civic. The Civic can totally have the rock in the back. It's a Festiva with the dildo. That's easy. But how do we mount a dildozer to the roof of the Cressida?
Well, we've had a whole bunch of giant floppy dildos on the hoods of cars as a sort of a low budget Idiocracy theme. But that's too easy. Yeah. But I'd also like to say, like, if we're going to do an Idiocracy theme, I'd really like to distance ourselves from the implied sort of promotion of eugenicist theory there, because really that's up there with phrenology as some outdated racist sort of philosophy. We don't need to get too far into that, but really I got to say the idea that preventing people from breeding because you don't think they meet your standards sort of makes my skin crawl a little bit.
Oh no!
You're getting into dictator theory here.
Well, if Enver Hoxha were in charge of reproduction, there'd be some changes made.
Being from the South, the whole eugenics nonsense, and it was actually still, even as I was in school, kind of hanging around. I think the lesson behind Idiocracy was not so much the intelligence capability of the people, but that the social reinforcement of being educated is stupid. Kind of.
Well, I mean, there are two schools of thought on the Idiocracy thing. I mean, what it comes down to, I think there is a large eugenics component there. I mean, and this is what NASCAR announcers talk about when they're doing one of their races as well. Is this? I mean, if you guys want to get into a heavy-duty philosophical debate, I can actually grab some Slivovitz and we can get full-on Russian intellectual on this shit. I mean,
boogity.
Yeah, exactly.
Speaking of intellectual, we see Donnie Petruniak plowing through the cones and doing 2 wheels off coming up the hill. So, well done, Donnie.
Donnie's one of the unsung intellectuals in the Western canon, I have to say. Really, a lot of times when people are
crazy
like,
that he is a doctor.
When people are in a prod cafe are discussing the latest trends in philosophy, like, but Donnie says, there's this stunned silence.
Every single cone.
Exactly.
Well done with the cones,
Donnie.
I have no problem believing that Donnie actually has a doctorate in math. He's a doctorate in math sort of a guy. Does he actually? I mean, he seems like...
No, he just got it awarded to him, and in his doctoral thesis...
Wait, is it honorary, or is it like a real one? Okay.
No, he had to defend his... because of all the COVID nonsense, he had to defend it via online, via video chat. But his doctoral thesis did reference Dale Sr.
Of course.
Well, I think when you start getting into the foundational aspects of reality, you can't avoid Dale Sr. I mean, really. And
the number 3 is just so perfect.
And I have to say, from my experience of grad school, nobody eats more acid than math majors, except for maybe physics majors. But it's the same sort of thing. So I have to say, I hope that Donnie swallowed 9 tabs of window pane before he did his Zoom defense of his thesis. We'll have to get him online. Can we get him on the?
Watching him drive is amazing.
Can we get him here? Is he hooked up with a mic?
Oh, let's see.
No, this terrible controller. This is terrible. Yeah, get him on if we can.
I mean, if he's got a PhD in math, then he'll understand the nature of Albanian reality.
I'll call him. I'll see if we'll put him on speaker.
I mean, he's actually a potential teammate of mine for the team we're doing with
Donnie Petruniak is in the broadcast booth. How you doing, Donnie?
10-4, Donnie, you there? Can you copy?
Great.
I'm not hearing it.
Donnie, answer your phone. I'm trying to call you.
Is that actually a ringtone right there? I'm just going to say.
Just vibrating a little bit. That doesn't...
Well, I mean, it depends on what part of him you're vibrating, really.
Oh,
can we go back to oiled up pecs of Texans now? Because
we
find that very sexy.
on the line.
I don't see him in the little list of people that are here, though.
he's there. Failing.
Phil, you've literally talked over every single thing he said.
Okay, go ahead. I'm going to be quiet now.
Go ahead,
Phil,
Donnie.
are we going to talk about how you overshadowed my accomplishment of a 3-hour LS400 starter change?
Well, really, that's not really an accomplishment, because when you go to the Lexus shop, they charge for 8 hours of work for that. So really, you should have drawn it out more. You could have billed for all of that.
Book time on it is 11.
Shit's getting way too complicated for me.
All right, so yes, you were very impressive in your starter change, and but I only just now learned that you just got your doctorate in math. So congratulations.
Yeah, I have the same degree that Ted Kaczynski has. So if you know anybody getting rid of land in Montana.
Well, I gotta say, so apparently to this day, they actually teach the brief that he wrote in his own defense in law school because it was so good. So I'm gonna say, Ted Kaczynski, sure, he's known for 2 things: being the Unabomber and writing a really good legal brief in his own defense. So there you go.
He's smart enough not to get caught for a hell of a long time.
Well, the problem was he made his own screws from scratch, and not many people do that, so that narrowed it down. No, seriously, in his bombs, he made screws from scratch by taking a metal rod and tapping threads into them by hand. So it narrows down the field of possible suspects right there. So did they
that
teach
sounds
you
like
that in
something
math
Sasha
school?
would do when he was out of things around.
Well, no, Sasha would have some more chicken that he found in the dirt at CMP and then pass out face down in it. I mean, in a brilliant Russian manner.
Well, all of Sasha's tools come from the dirt because
Well,
you know,
no,
as
I
soon as
mean,
they arrive,
so
they unload their 5-gallon buckets into the ground.
Sputnik's tool organization, well, I'm not just tools. Sputnik's object organization system involves everything you own goes in hundreds of 5-gallon buckets. You show up at the track and you dump it all in a heap. Food, tools, gas, anything, clothes. It's all in a heap, and when you need something, you just dig through it. It's very Vladivostok 1981, really. And
all you need when you have fuel is you get a cheese ball and you put it into this. Yes, it's not a problem.
I often think that Sasha is perhaps Sasha may be the only real genius I know. And then I get over that thought because I realize my job in a race that he's attending is to keep him alive.
Yeah. One time I was looking at a lovely bottle opener on the cage of his Nissan truck. It was a bear. And it was like, oh, it's very conveniently placed. And he's like, oh, it's hiding. He's like, oh, that is hiding half-inch stretched weld.
Well, you need to look closely at anything Sputnik does to save them from themselves, because it's a lot like the heroic Red Army defenders of Stalingrad. Personal safety, not a priority. So we do a lot of saving Sputnik from themselves. And Russia's going to sue us now.
And boy, what a great appearance this has been by Donnie.
Yeah, sorry, Donnie. Go ahead and talk.
Great. Thanks, Donnie.
Oh, I cannot stop laughing. Thanks, guys.
Hey, Johnny, take care of yourself down there.
Drifto!
Okay, I feel bad now for just sucking all the oxygen out of Donnie's rants, but I mean, you should have brought in some heavy math.
Donnie takes ball busting as well as anybody else.
All right, fine.
Spent a week in a Cadillac with Donnie. It was great.
The smallest
And none of us
Cadillac
on this
ever.
broadcast have broken the windshield of Donnie's car, so that's nice.
That's not true, but we won't go there.
So I decided to jump in the Miata and hop out here and run a couple laps with these guys just to get a feel for what's going on, and it's interesting.
Interesting how?
Interesting as there are apexes out of here on the track. I know they're there, but I'm not seeing many people paying attention to them.
What just happened with the Miata going through the car?
I am a spectator, therefore my car
He's
is
ghost
here, but
driving.
it's not here.
Okay,
It's a ghost car.
He's ghost dad driving.
I see. Oh man, Ghost Dad was the last movie that all 7 members of my family saw in a movie theater.
Is that actually a movie?
Yes.
Ghost Dad?
Yep.
Really?
You know,
You obviously have
Bill
a very
Cosby.
discriminating taste, Eric.
I think the last time my family saw a movie together was That Darn Cat in Minneapolis, 1972. So it's been a while.
It was the year I was born, Phil. So
Well, that was when That Darn Cat was just tearing up the drive-ins in the cool places.
I was
And the
always
last time
a
my
better
family
fan
got
of.
together was never.
You might not
Never.
know that Darn Cat was actually a political allegory on the career of Henry Kissinger.
I was always a bigger fan of The Ugly Dachshund. I thought that was just a. If you're gonna watch a movie about cats and dogs, that's.
You know, I believe Kurt Russell was actually in That Darn Cat. And as most NASCAR announcers want to say, it's time to talk about Kurt Russell movies.
Now you've actually got a subject we can agree on, because I am of the opinion Kurt Russell has not done a bad movie.
The Computer Wore Tennis Shoes? I mean, fine movie.
Anything with him driving that red dune buggy, fantastic film.
Well, used cars. I mean, anyone who has anything bad to say about used cars, you can just check out right now, because
Look, there's
I won't listen
miles
to it.
of cars here.
Exactly.
That's a great movie.
You're not an American if you don't like used cars.
If you don't like used cars, I mean, just Marshall Lucky, yes, sir. That car's just too fucking much. Blam. Like that movie right there. That's what America's really all about. That was America at its strongest. And yes, there were hostages in Tehran at that moment. And no, we did not nuke them. But at the same time, Kurt Russell was making this movie that was explaining what being an American was really all about.
That's right.
Absolutely.
And then it's good from New York. I mean, it was hard to top used cars, but Escape from New York somehow did that.
I heard Snake Plissken was dead.
Everyone heard that. So I've actually got a serious, real question on a Russian intellectual level here about Escape from New York. So at the end, the whole movie, Snake has been telling everyone, "Call me Snake," whenever they call him Pliskin. At the end, when what's the commander's name? When he's like, they've finally gotten over it, and they've got he's eaten the tape that the president's going to play and all that, and he's walking away, and he says, "Call me Pliskin." Does that mean that he's suddenly on the side of the man? Or does that mean he's just contradicting him in yet one more way?
All right, so I'm gonna go with it.
I don't want to feel like
I have
out to the man.
No, he didn't. I have a philosophy degree, so I'm going to stick with he actually deliberately, because he was just being subversive to the man. And if you watch Escape from L.A., it builds on that principle.
I've never seen that.
Kurt Russell just wants anarchy, and he wants to be left alone. So he's going to do whatever he wants, and he's going to shut down any system of order that tries to take away his freedom. So yes, he's just being deliberately antagonistic because he refuses to work for the man.
Well, I'd like to get Donnie back in here to discuss the mathematical implications of that,
So
because I think
there's kind of a race going on here somewhere, maybe.
Somewhere. So
Tell us what's
Alex Levinson got his dynamics worked out.
Well, because he's driving Lamino's car, and now at about half an hour left, that means this is when it's going to blow up. This is coming from someone who has been in a drive in Tom Lamino's car and spent most of my weekend changing an engine. So
I seem to recall you driving with him at New Hampshire at this track.
It was New Hampshire, wasn't it?
Yep, totally.
A nice, relaxing weekend where you didn't have to rent on a car or swap an engine or do any kind of BS. And we had that conversation during BS.
Yep.
And within 24 hours, I saw you sitting cross-legged on the floor, taking an engine out and looking sad. So
yes, I agree with everything you've just said. This is, Yep, that's all.
I remember that, right?
Eric Rude has been just like the purveyor of the future several times while BS judging our car. He stared at our newly K-swapped Civic and said, "So, how many axles are you going to break this weekend?"
The engine still has the sad face in Sharpie on it.
Yep.
And
every time I go to...
You have that going.
Same engine.
It's still in it,
Yeah. But every time I go to like an HPDE and I go to tech, they say, "Why is there a sad face on it?" I say, "My friend is a jerk." And that's
I own that.
But totally. And if that motor blows up, the valve cover's swapping to the new motor because that's like provenance now.
That's right.
Did you call it a mower because it's a Honda, or was that Freudian?
It's just like an AMG when the builder signs the motor.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah.
Mental, yours is built by Frodim Avidia, because in case you cared. Here's the best part.
I did actually know that.
The best part about the AMG plaque on the motors is exactly the right size to rest your beer on, and it is flat. So it's really a cup holder. AMG is there for you.
Did you know
right cup holder?
Because they knew.
Another good thing to know is 1980s Toyota door latches. The side on the jamb on the door, perfect beer openers. Like they're made for it. Like they knew.
Little U-shaped Vader.
They're like a U-shape with 90-degree angles in them. They're just perfect for beers. And then Toyota, they sold out later on. By the early 90s, they didn't quite fit a beer bottle cap, and you just had to use the fender.
So today, I realized I've missed a very crucial element while doing my complete refit of my enclosed trailer. I realized I had no bottle opener on the trailer. So Amazon cart order, thank you very much, bottle opener in the trailer.
Well, I mean, that's an essential product for these virus-enhanced times. You need an opener in your trailer.
Wow.
Actually, you can use any hard object in your trailer to open a bottle if you have to.
Well, that's what I was saying.
Well, I used to use a trailer hitch on the truck, and then I broke the top off a bottle, and now Chrissy gets mad at me and won't let me do that. So I need a proper bottle opener now.
Well, you could just take your 357 Magnum and shoot the end of your bottle off like a Texan fantasizing about sexy, throbbing, oiled pecs would do.
Oh.
Yeah.
And that's a great line through that corner by Donnie Petruniak there. Remember, it's a race
Donnie,
here.
well
Done, Donnie. There you go. And great
Now
job.
that was soggy, and I would be willing to bet that was almost on purpose. Oh,
No,
Soggy's over here.
No,
I wouldn't
Ryan
say it's
and-
almost on purpose.
I think
It's-
Donnie was applying some number theory to that
Actually,
corner.
Donnie is not in the car.
Turns out number theory is the most LSD enhanced of all mathematical pursuits. We should actually see if we can detect some lysergic behavior on his part.
This is
Having
actually
hundreds and
just-
hundreds of laps on this track, there's no reason for either of those cars to be there at all. So especially not two.
In the
At the same
real
time,
life,
no.
Over intentionally. I'm going to go ahead and make that supposition.
in real life racing, you don't have cars suddenly blink in and blink out of reality the way they seem to do here.
That's a
So
cool.
that might be a fact.
You are.
Whoa,
Or
you
jump.
don't? You
Actually, if you're taking enough vitamin L, you might.
The first person that comes up with a car that can actually jump in real life like the ones that do in iRacing is
Well,
gonna get
they
trophy.
keep adding energy with each bounce when they start bouncing around. I really think that would be a good feature to have in real cars. Oh, here's where I always shoot my photographs when I'm documenting these races. Get some good shots from here, because if parts are going to fly off the cars, this is the corner where it happens.
So in 20th position, we've got Melanie Walker. I believe she has run this entire race by herself.
Melanie, Felony Melanie,
is that legal?
the Fairly Lame team, or is that a different Melanie? I don't know her last name.
I mean,
don't
she's not
know.
doing so hot.
No, this
yeah, hey,
is that
there you
number
go.
3
Flag.
She does
Pontiac.
not have a teammate.
That number 3 Pontiac has been in the pits more times than it has been out of the pits.
Felony Melanie has a lot of teammates.
That's not the track.
That's a great line that she has right now. Well done, Melanie.
We just follow this car for a while here.
This is going to be entertaining. And I honestly, I give her props for running the entire Enduro by herself. And
Well, I mean,
it looks like
2
she's
hour
back in the
2 hour stint. A 2 hour stint is like breakfast. Like,
Well, I mean, you can have your paper bag and your bottle of Scotch Guard handy the whole time you're racing and iRacing. In a race car, what are you gonna have? Like your Scotch Guard, Camelback going on? I mean, it's really much harder. So in this way, if you need to do your inhalant intoxication, well, fantasizing about Richard Nixon's especially sensitive genitalia, it's a lot harder when you're doing it in real life.
well, the hardest part about the running a long stint is that my VR goggles like bother my face. I got to move them around. When I'm in the car I could be in the car for 3.5 hours, and all I get, like, occasionally I just get bored. Because
Well, you
I've
might
been in the car for a really long time. I'm done with this.
You've been to CMP. Have you ever had one of those cow killer hornets sting you on your private parts during a race? Because that happens there.
Thankfully, no. No.
Yeah,
no.
they have these. They look like ants.
I say, how thin is your driver's suit that it's getting?
No,
through that?
they climb in while you're putting your suit on, and they wait. They wait till they're out at a particularly sensitive time, and then so apparently there's these. They look like ants, but they're actually hornets. They're wingless hornets or wasps called cow killers, and or velvet ants. And apparently, what they do is they get in a sensitive spot and they wait until it's a particularly bad time, and then they sting. And apparently, it's one of the worst pains that a person
So
can
the
endure.
leader is in the pits right now, which is going to change the dynamic of the actual race here. So let's pay attention to that a bit.
Okay.
He was catching him to that point also, so it would be an interesting finish if we.
Maybe it's because he had a hornet in his pants and he had to
Well,
stop.
no, it's actually it
completely
looks like
possible.
an ant, though. I mean, let's just call it an ant.
I think I got stung by one of those, but
Oh, they're brutal.
And
Actually, at CMP, I don't think I've ever worked a CMP race where I didn't get at least 3 fire ant bites. Because wherever you go to shoot photographs of that race, there are fire ants. Those things are horrible. Let's just say fire ants have reduced the quality of life in the South by quite a bit.
I gotta say that if you stay near the terminally confused barbecue area, for some reason there are never any fire ants there, because that's usually where I am all these race weekends.
It's the track dumps. They dump ant killer over the whole paddock area, but it's when you go out to the areas where you have to shoot photographs where the ants are thriving.
Well, that makes sense, because terminally confused is always near the pavilion, and therefore that's where the track is going to dump the most carcinogenic chemicals, is nearest where they are. So that's why I've never experienced what I've heard of is the terrible fire ant problem.
Well, I mean, the penalty box is right near terminally confused where they set up too. So I think they actually apply their own ant poison. And actually, I've heard that what you can do is you mix honey and gunpowder and leave a big heap of it near your... I'm not
good. What happened?
Just got
what is that? Oh, of course, car number 3 is involved somehow, because that seems to be a common theme.
Where's the 48 in relation here? He's leaving pit lane, so it's going to be close.
Oh, man. We got 22 minutes to go, so I can go back to your...
Hit the pace car.
I'm going to go back to the remedy for the fire ant problem. So according to Walker Canada, who grew born and raised in Camden, South Carolina, the solution to fire ants is you mix honey and gunpowder. You leave a bunch of it out for your local fire ants. Then bring in all the gunpowder soaked with honey back to the nest. Then you jam a piece of fuse into the ant hole, the hole the ants go into, and light it. And apparently, they brought 10 pounds of black powder into their nest. It blows it up real good, and it's also really entertaining at the same time, which actually kind of syncs up with the terminally confused philosophy.
Did you see that Melanie Walker is a 16-year-old?
No, it is not. It is her 13-year-old sister that's actually driving. I have a newfound respect for her. That is awesome.
So therefore, she's not just terrible. She's just 13. Okay, got it. Thanks.
I think 13-year-olds would be better at this because their reaction times are really good and they don't fear death.
But have never driven anything.
Chris drove part of a race on Thursday night as well.
Chris had his ringer.
Yeah,
he had his ringer kid driving that for him. He's not that good. The kid was doing it.
So they are.
Can we go to the 000 car, because they're only 9 seconds? Okay, there we go. 9 seconds behind the leader. That's pretty solid.
So when you're actually driving in a real race,
dumped, but yeah.
When you're driving a real race, can you have a display of the top racers displayed on your windshield? Or is that like a C5 Corvette thing?
Well, New Hampshire is fun because there's a tower at New Hampshire that says who is in which position. So when you're coming around into turn 1, 2, 3, you can look over and see it. Yeah,
it's not always accurate though, because I've learned that when I'm trying to figure out who's in this top of the standings toward the end of the race, and it's not always up to date.
Yeah, but it's pretty close. But one time it was great in that one of our cars, our Triumph, parked on the timing loop in pit lane while they were fueling, and they got about 50 laps. Right, so someone comes on the radio while I was driving the boat, and someone says, "Oh, the TR's in third." I said, "No effing way! There's not a chance." And I look over and I see on the loop it's in third. I said, "Yeah, okay, I see that's right there, but that's wrong. There's no way."
That was me.
Clearly, you found a shortcut to a victory there, and you should have exploited it.
No, they took our laps away because Roland and Stephanie were too smart. They were onto us.
You should have bribed them.
The software flags that kind of stuff and says, yeah, something's...
It's true. The software does let you know if somebody's done a lap in 1/10 of a second. Like, that seems wrong. That seems... Well, I mean, we had to get Donnie in here to talk about this, but I think relativistic theory is involved, and probably it isn't happening.
Well, anytime the RTR would be in the top 10, relativistic theory would say, no, that's wrong. That's impossible.
Well,
every theory says that's wrong.
That comes up a lot when we have teams complaining about, for example, some team will complain about, for example, Sputnik being super aggressive. Sputnik's cars don't run well enough to be aggressive, so we know that's bullshit. So it's kind of like, and actually. That actually syncs up nicely with the idea of relativistic racing theory.
Well, there are lots of people who say, wow, that guy was really aggressive. He didn't get out of my way. How did I not know I was faster?
Well, we're starting to get into sort of SCCA philosophy now, where they're supposed to respect your awesomeness. And it turns out that in reality, no one respects your awesomeness. No one even knows about it.
I will file a protest against you.
In the early days of Lemons, we actually had a shredder, and we had a form for protests, and you could fill out the form, and then we'd put it right into the shredder. And I gotta say, like, old SCCA guys, you could just see it was like the slot machine where the reels never stopped spinning, like they couldn't actually process it. It was very satisfying. And then of course, because it was a very affordable shredder, it broke, and then we stopped using it.
Well, you followed that up at the first race I went to at Gingerman 10 years ago, and I don't know.
Was that 10 whole years ago?
It was you or Johnny came up with a protest form that was literally like 750 pages.
No, that was me. Yeah, so this actually, the reason I was able to do this was when I was in grad school, believe it or not, I was a rhetoric and composition major. I was going to learn how to teach people how to write, which is a terrible idea. My idea was that I was going to teach people how to subvert bureaucratic systems by overwhelming them with gibberish. And so what I actually used for that form was part of my master's thesis in rhetoric and composition about how to confound and confuse any bureaucratic system with reams of gibberish. So I already had it handy, so I just used that. So it's really out of the bowels of the California State University system that this came. Just letting you all know.
I had a guy send me a private message on iRacing saying he was going to file a protest because every time I got too close to him, I braked harder, and he wrapped it up with, and I have video proof. Bear in mind, we were contesting for 14th and 15th place in a 15-car field.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things that's great about being an official in Lemons racing is the subjectivity of it all allows us to just say, shut the fuck up. We don't care. You're not important to us. And it's like, that doesn't exist in SCCA and NASA and all that. It's like, oh, you come to this track all the time. You're very important. You spend money here. We don't have to care. And sometimes it gets to be, there's a lot of friction involved when we go to a place like Indy Motorsports Ranch in Arizona, where there are people who are members of the club, or Audubon in Joliet, where they're used to having a certain amount of suction applied to their posteriors, if you know what I'm saying. When we do these races, it's our track, we're renting it, it's our world, and we just frankly don't care how important a person you are. And it's liberating for a lot of the people who are not considered important people in that world to realize these people who are regarded as gods when they're at a different track day come to our race and they realize, like, you know, we're not taking these guys seriously. Fuck off. So I like that a lot about being an official in Lemons.
Hey, Sean, hold on, mental. Sean, can we hang with the 000 for a minute? This is catching up, number 2 position-wise, catching up now 5.3 seconds behind Nate Schlavine in the winning car. Currently winning.
I think he might need to be in the faster run group.
Yeah, I've been riding the faster 000 for a while
faster
now.
Run group.
He is. He's driving the wheels off this thing, and there can't be much left.
We were talking about that last week, Eric, or this week rather, Eric, you weren't around, but down at Barber when you yelled at a guy for speeding in the pits, and he came over and informed you that he knows exactly how fast he was going and he wasn't speeding because he knows how to drive a car, and you replied in your very Eric tone something along the lines of, I do this all the time and know for a fact you were speeding. So unable to get a rise out of you, decided it was perfectly acceptable to go yell at Kim. And we were thinking, let's find the one person at the track who everybody loves, and we all have lots of really heavy tools, and you're going to go yell at that person? This is not a smart plan.
Well, yeah, they're used to, so like I said, when you come, most racetracks are utterly dependent on important rich dudes. And those guys are used to getting their asses kissed. And when we were at the track, we don't care. And so the treatment they get is a lot different from us, and it's satisfying to us, but very unsatisfying to these guys. And the same thing, like SCCA, it's all about how old you are. So when you're 100 years old in the SCCA, I mean, you remember you and Barney Oldfield were dicing with the Ford 999 on the front straight at some farmer's field outside of Dearborn.
Bridgehampton, right?
This is shaping up to be a good race right here at the end of it. This is nice. Jared is really running down Nathan and that priority fail car. This is going to be fun.
Hey, and if those first two get in any kind of tangle together, Dave Carpenter's right there, only 48 seconds behind. He will happily make that up.
He is, but Shleveen and Duclos are actually pulling away from Dave Carpenter in the 888 mobile, which is very rare. Usually at the end of the race, he's still got a lot of tire and just running down the leaders.
Uncle Dave usually makes me look like a chump, and he is getting run away from somebody else. So, hey, I mean, I suck. So, there's that.
But again, Dave's been doing this for how long? How long has Uncle Dave been doing iRacing? And then on top of that,
Jeff sucks. Chris doesn't.
His RC
a long time. Yeah, his RC experience. I mean, he's great at RC stuff, and he's good at actual race driving, and he's been doing this for a long time. So, I mean, Dave knows what he's doing, but he's super humble about it. But man, these other guys are doing pretty well. Good for them.
Yeah.
Down to 3.7 seconds between number 1 and number 2, Duclos and Shleveen.
Is it down below 4? I missed that.
Yeah, 3.6 right now.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's noticeable. Sitting here in the passenger seat in the 000 Camaro right now, it's noticeable that gap is coming down in a hurry.
Yeah.
And traffic doesn't even seem to matter right now.
The Shleveen is Duclos is definitely sliding everywhere, every turn, using every bit of tires, while Shleveen is
he's going wide right here, though. Oh.
Yeah, he got forced wide. There was a car sitting at the apex by the turtle.
Yeah, I think that's called Camaro. You know.
Camaro, yeah, true.
There was an issue at the turtle.
Oh, man.
The only Camaro driving experience I have is a buddy of mine has a 96 Z28 that he got in high school. He still has. And he's had like Lindenfelter work the engine and stuff. And so I went for a drive with him once. I was like, I can open it up. Yeah. So I just dump the clutch and just work its way through it. I yell, Camaro. And he thought it was funny, actually. So that was good.
You were never invited back again? Is that what you were about to say?
Did you feel like you were doing an airstrike on Hanoi at that moment?
No, I felt like I wanted to fly a flag, and
well, that sounds like an airstrike on Hanoi to me.
And your sister started looking really, really attractive, and she hadn't before.
Okay, first cousin, thank you.
It'd be gross.
Sean,
look, Cali boy, don't tell me how to be a redneck.
Hey, Mental, that comes from a dude that had an El Camino for a long time, so, just saying.
I also had an El Camino. I had a 67.
I think he was talking about you.
That's my point.
Oh, never mind. Yes, thank you.
Sean, can you tell us what's going on in Class C and Class B? We know what's going on in first place here.
Or Ryan.
What else? If you'd like me to hop on board somewhere else, I can.
Well, we've got Peter Monin in the Damn It Doug Racing Machine leading the Class B vehicles in his number 255 Jetta. He has, it looks like about, if I had to speculate, looks like he's on the back part of the course. Yeah, and here comes Alex running second in class, so it's about 5 seconds gap between those two.
Looking back at far from winning in Class B.
That's right. Yep. And then Class C, we've got from Team 1969, David Bryan leading the way in the number 44 Solstice with Eric's alma mater on it. Second place in class is Greg Schnittinger in the Snoochie Boochies machine, the quick stop.
Impressive. They're not even supposed to be here today.
And Sagi running third in class.
Oh, hey.
Good job, Sagi.
So it was pointed out, it was I've got a judge question for Eric and for Phil. So Andrew Bernard in the chat asked that if 44 wins C for the second week in a row, are they going to have to get bumped up?
We don't care.
I don't think we care.
Good answer.
In iRacing, I mean,
perfect.
That requires that we do work.
Some manner of attention, which isn't going to happen.
So let's get back to this subject very dear to my heart. Is anybody actually building the giant root vegetable car for real lemons yet?
Well, we are getting the 1987 Winston Cup cars this week, Eric.
Right.
You're going to have room for those.
That would be a good Mafia car.
Oh, Class C leader going through the turf there.
A 300ZX looks remarkably like a tuber, even before you start.
Say again?
300ZX already looks like a tuber.
Looks remarkably tuber-like before you lay some paint.
Well, I wanted
ZX, that's a Z. It's a regular Z. The Z.
I wanted to look like a tuber from across a large racetrack, though, where a person who knows nothing about racing would say, that there is a giant root vegetable. know what I mean?
Second place in Class B.
Oh, hey, no,
Alex.
it's the 13-year-old car number 3.
Yes, our youngest member who's going to be racing with us in 2022, according
Oh
to
God, she's going to be so afraid of driving a real car.
That shot right there is Lemons in a nutshell. And you've got Lamino. You got Lamino bouncing off the turtle and heading into the wall with a good solid clang. And in the background, you've got the car number 3 Solstice ending up on its side. So, like, this is it right here. Clang, clang, clang. Done.
All right, I have a feature request for more body parts, both human and automobile, flying off cars in these wrecks. Just saying. iRacing, make it happen, please.
So, Phil, I know you're really rooting for a root vegetable, but we were really far down the road of making our car a rambutan.
That's fine. You know, okay, I'm going to say any fruit or vegetable that can be identified from across a large racetrack is perfectly good.
There are 7 people in the world that know what a rambutan is, and 4 of them are on this show, and the other 3 are garage heroes in training.
Whoa, Black Betty.
Dragon fruit. I see it.
Black Betty had a fruit, rambutan.
I see in the comments that someone's talking about dragon fruit. Dragon fruit's actually really good. I'd say, yeah, I'd like to see that on the track too. Just the key is that it has to be identifiable as a fruit or vegetable all the way across Thunder Hill, and which is a big track. I mean, that's, you actually start getting the smog becomes a factor between you and the car you're looking at. So I'm saying we need a really large vegetable or fruit. So
according to the chat, the rollover was not the 13-year-old. That was her dad. Perfect.
Oh, okay. I don't know the 13-year-old's name. Okay, but Lauren's the one that was giving us the update on that one. That 13-year-old now has license to mock her father's driving for at least 2 weeks without, like everything he does, she gets to make fun of.
I just hope that when she's actually driving a real car in a few years, that this doesn't make her think that there are no consequences to running into walls.
I think generally it's understood that when you run into the wall, you're probably not going to have a good day.
Well,
You're gonna have a bad time. You're gonna have a bad time, okay?
So we're showing Nate Levine first place in Class A and leading the race. Seems to be putting some distance on number 2, the 000 Jay Duclos car. Dave Carpenter.
Has he ever not won a race in iRacing? I mean, come on.
Yeah.
This guy's kind of a ringer.
True.
Yeah.
Can we give him a throwing rod?
That'd be great.
No, but
he goes in his real car.
Or, this would be a perfect time for one of the implementations of the penalty paint schemes that we were talking about. And it's just this great big green sign that says, I cheat.
Can we do that?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
We can definitely do that.
Ryan figured that out about a week ago, that we can implement paint schemes on cars that we want.
Well, we should do that on all the cars then. Why are we not doing that? I mean, can I provide some images? I mean, I got Photoshop.
Yeah,
we're trying to keep this PG-13.
In fact, I believe I actually have photographs of the original Studs and Spurs penalty, which it's PG rated.
Right. Lauren,
Texas racers, showing their abs.
Lauren, you're 16 years old. His name is Cash. That's awesome. What's the 13-year-old's name?
Lauren. Looks like Lauren.
Lauren.
It's in there.
Lauren is the 13-year-old.
13-year-old. 16-year-old.
Cash is the 16-year-old.
They're ruined for driving forever.
Or
I'm not sure who
awesome
Melanie
at it
is in
because
the situation.
they're better than their dad. So good on both of you.
That's right.
Well, kids are just better at this stuff than grown-ups anyway. They just have reflexes.
What happened to Dave Carpenter? The Cheaties Momrath trolley has gotten some damage. Did we miss an accident?
We must have. It was perfect
totally.
a minute ago.
I mean, shocking. Shocking that an accident happened somewhere on the track we weren't paying attention to. Oh my god!
Accident is the wrong word. I think it's
I think he hit the Lysol Miata.
Cheaties hits Lysol. Like, that's some good branding.
He probably only had one hand on the wheel as he was going through the corner.
Oh, boy, that's right there.
Making America great.
Nobody blocks tracks better than me. I'm great at blocking tracks. I use very good cars. I block very well. This is no one's better. I'm great.
Wait. That was a beautiful block. Beautiful.
I don't think we blocked a track.
Beautiful.
Fred, do you know anything about blocking track?
In terms of blocking the track, it was very effective in that the track was blocked.
I'm not sure what
it was the best. It was the best block I've ever
You're
seen.
the best at blocking the track. Yes, absolutely.
So let's get back to this liveries discussion. If I were to make images to put on these cars as a penalty, could we make that happen? I mean, I'll do it.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, absolutely. We tried to source that out to the audience in chat. So you send us your worst liveries. And
so who's going to have a Richard Nixon's glittery penis theme the next race?
Hey! The race
What?
Why you picking on the teenage girl? Why are you picking on the teenage girl?
I don't think
buddy?
it's and glittery is not the right word. It's glistening and throbbing.
I think glittery is a better answer.
Glittery is kind of a stripper thing, though. I mean, that's
All right, so the Miata.
too dignified for
Hold
that.
on a second, Phil. We gotta actually call
The
some rates
Miata
here.
feels slighted by the
We got 2
solstice
minutes to
coming out of the
go.
track. Spun
So
the
we have
Miata. The Miata feels slighted, and the Miata then
Look at this.
reaches out and
This is like Twitter.
gets revenge against the solstice. Here we go.
Yeah, I mean, the leader.
He does a donut, and then he comes back around, and really.
This is
Seriously,
Twitter at the
but the
president right
solstice
now.
gets a whole loop, so that's cool.
I remember you got
Who's that Miata? Like, can we ban them?
The leader's got
terrible.
That's
the leader's
soggy
got a pretty
Miata.
good edge.
No, it's not soggy.
Oh no.
That's not soggy. No, soggy would have just given up. That's someone who's a serious racer. No way.
They're not very good.
I also want to point out, so we're getting a lot of messages here from the whole Cash clan. So the message from Lauren, who is the 13-year-old, her father said if she's nice, she can drive the Geo Metro to school. So maybe she shouldn't pick on him because clearly he's raising his children correctly.
I think
that's kind of a threat. Like, you have to drive the Geo Metro to school.
No, I think a 13-year-old driving any car to school is going to be considered cool by their peers. So I think that's fine. Yeah, if the Geo Metro equivalent when I was 13 years old, God, that would have been like a Fiesta or something. I would have been thought cool at 13. So, and because right now there are larger law enforcement problems in America, I think a 13-year-old could drive to school and not get hassled by the man. So do it.
So in the chat, someone said,
Is the white flag out?
Said, if you remove someone's decorations, is that livery?
Oh, can we do that? Can we de-livery somebody? All right,
I'll be here all week.
We're down to the
bartenders
final.
and waitresses. Thank
Yeah,
you.
we need to do that at the beginning of a race, not the end of a race.
I think Nate's got it.
Okay, so
The timer's
so my
about to
teams that
expire.
came up for liveries, a Richard Nixon stripper theme would be totally awesome.
Oh, yeah,
we
do
also
that.
have Geraldo Rivera in briefs. That's a great
Oh yeah,
one.
yeah, do that too.
All right, and this has actually been a good race. We were talking way too much about dictators and repressed homosexuality in Texas, but the three Camaros were really actually 3 Camaros and the Mustang really dicing it out.
I would say we talk too much about real racing, to be honest. But that's just me.
I'm
And
actually
most of
down
the
here
horses.
on the actual race surface down here in turn 1 waiting for the carnage. So wherever the derby takes place, you guys let me know if it's not
feel
here,
like
I need to know where it's at.
I think the
Turn
best
one.
carnage. The best carnage here is going to be turn 5, like the bottom of the bowl. If you just go straight,
And
you
then actually
jump
the winner right now
into
is
the parking
doing
lot.
Donuts. Nate
Yep.
Levine doing donuts in turn 3, 4.
Now just keep
Playing
going, everybody.
Tempting
Go
fate,
up.
tempting fate. Who's gonna get him? Who's gonna get him? Oh, Donnie delivers, and Nate doesn't care. He's back to the donuts.
Whole bunch of solstices coming in.
This is all very General Motors.
They've all got to finish their races. There goes, this time Lamino actually gets through there.
Yeah, a YouTube commenter mentions Dovoran's Roger Stone's rippling back, and I couldn't be more in agreement. That's getting me kind of tinkly. You know what I mean? Roger Stone. Well, Steph is saying she wants to puffle up a car, but Steph, you already puffle up the shit out of that VW fastback, so I think we've been puffle up down. And I have to say, every time we're working in the penalty box, when a puffle up starts talking to me, I get a little disturbed.
Oh, that's
Oh,
amazing.
man.
He's in the tire wall.
Yeah.
And now he can't
he's
get
in
out.
there so hard his wheels are up. Someone's gonna have to hit him. Someone hit the Mustang. Get in there and someone tap the Mustang. Give him a left. Yeah, back up Vans, Miata, or don't. All
By
right.
the way, did you know
I'm here to turn 5 for the show now, y'all. This is intense. Very intense.
We got a Jetta smoking all the way through.
PA Jetta is taking the.
And he's gonna hit the Mustang. Thank
There
you,
we go.
Eastern.
Oh
PA
my
Jetta.
God! Someone just
I mean, that Jetta is smoky enough to be the East Indian dope smoking team. They're doing well enough.
Oh,
clang.
Oh wow,
Clang.
Donnie sacrificed himself to liberate the Mustang from the oppression of the tire
Let's look
wall.
down. Let's look down at the end of the straight, coming to a little right. Yeah, straight there. Is anyone using the bowl to launch themselves out of the bowl? You
Into
know,
the crowd,
like
into the stands, right there.
Yeah, like Duke
Unfortunately,
Boys style.
iRacing does not actually show cars hitting the crowd. I'm very disappointed by
No,
that.
but you can still launch yourself out of that bowl so well if you just kind of hold it tight and then turn right. And like right, that car is turn right, jump.
there,
No,
yep.
no.
Well, actually, you'd hit the very spot that I stand when I shoot photographs of these races too.
Exactly.
Yeah, you can.
That's
kill
why
these.
it would be the perfect place because it's the
Actually, and
it would.
the Dorifto competition they often have while we're racing is right over there. If you really
It's
got
the place you would
going,
expect least to get hit is the one you do.
like you're standing there watching those Dorifto cars, all of a sudden you get clocked by a Lemons Eldorado. You know.
Oh,
I mean, this is a
look at
good
this.
start.
Look
Here
at
we
the
go.
below car.
Oh, that's a pretty good jump.
Oh.
But then they disappear. That's the disappointing part. Feature request more blood and guts and more car parts.
At least after the race, you should let the car be able to go through the parking lot, because that would have been a perfect time for the balladeer to go. Right about now, the Duke boys were checking their copay on that insurance policy.
You know, I have to say, I'm disappointed by all the Dukes of Hazzard stuff.
Oh my God!
Oh, that's a solid jump. Well done. Well done.
Man.
Wow, that's
Wow!
awful.
And he hovered. He hovered for a moment. If you look, that's just a total.
And the brakes are still glowing too.
Oh.
This launch brought to you by Elon Musk and the rest of SpaceX.
I think it's brought to you by Richard Nixon's throbbing, glistening genitalia.
coming to you live from on top of the number 7 Camaro stuck in the fence.
That's a nice
Holy
jump
crap!
there.
Yo.
Yeah, look at that.
Oh,
That's our lemons Russia dream.
There's your Facebook picture for this weekend,
there we
right
go.
there.
Wow,
Yep.
that's several thousand feet. Look at that.
Eric, take some screenshots here. Ready?
Yeah, take the screenshots. There you go. Now.
And screenshot. Done.
Now this brings
Done.
me to mind of bombing Hanoi right there. Just that was a great.
You know, those obstreperous North Vietnamese just wouldn't listen to Richard Nixon when he told them they had to do what he wanted. And then so he had to send a Camaro in.
And I'm going to turn the gravity on right now, and then the car will begin to fall to the earth. Because
Anybody need a small block?
You know, Operation Linebacker was really the second-gen Camaro of airstrikes.
Oh, it's coming in nose first, ladies and gentlemen.
This is pretty
Just to make
impressive.
sure the driver is dead.
Nope.
I haven't checked on the driver yet.
That driver was dead long before this part happened.
He gets full points because he landed that one properly and is now doing the secondary landing.
Well,
and
and-
it looks like this one might come down the wheels too.
It's very important to watch the rear tires because his foot is on the gas.
Yeah. Well, that's quite a bumper right there, too.
He's ready to go.
He's in the Etruscan
And
afterlife.
check it out, his secondary landing also on the wheels. Well played, sir. That is nice. That is. What's the joke Eric made? Even the Russian judge is holding up a 9.
James McGuire.
And we have the aerial view from the blimp on to see does he get higher than the blimp? How does that work?
Oh, yeah, let's look at the blimp view. Here we go. All right. Can he get higher than the blimp? Yeah. Really, but pretty good.
I think when he's
the hover is impressive.
Yeah, he's reached like the maximum that they are going. That iRacing is going to allow the car to fly. Like,
I mean, if that actually happened, at a real race, it would be everyone else would stop racing forever. There'd be no point in continuing racing after that.
No, because it's the most awesome thing ever has occurred.
Yeah, look at that. I mean,
I'm coming to y'all live from inside the number 7 car stuck in the catch fence right now. How many reporters you know would get inside the car stuck in the catch fence?
Only one shaped like a meat wad.
Yeah, man.
I mean, the landing is actually kind of anticlimactic, because the incredibly long orbital time. Now, this is real racing.
And what I like is that it's on the hood. Now it just says Alti Meat.
And he goes back into reverse and then forward on the gears, too, which is nice. And yet, the car still seems to work after this, sort of.
It is a Camaro. It is a 70s.
Yeah.
Jeff, what do you say about American cars?
They're going to run crappy. The average General Motors car will run crappy longer than most cars will run.
Well, I'd like to add that the only 4-stroke, 4-cylinder engine I've ever known that could run pretty well on one cylinder is the Volkswagen Air-Cooled. It'll idle on one cylinder, partly because the flywheel is about the same weight as a manhole cover.
I mean, Iron Duke... Phil, wasn't there an Iron Duke that was run on one cylinder eventually?
Yes.
They gradually lost things in a few.
Yeah, they lost one cylinder. They lost one cylinder to Ginger Man, and then so they cut the rod and they went back out, and then they lost 2 more. They cut those rods, and it ran okay on one cylinder. It was the degradation in performance was really not all that much. So really, 3/4 of the cylinders in a Fiero are not needed.
So have you seen the graphic on the side of the Damn It Donnie Racing?
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah,
it's very gratifying.
Quality.
It's like what happens when I drink a lot of bribe Slivovitz.
There's a rainbow in every bottle.
Well, like I said, the best Slivovitz is the kind that comes in this sort of the cylindrical bottle. It's this weird sort of. I don't mean like the normal sort of cylinder. I mean like on its side. And I think they make them in the same industrial factories that they make, Soviet tractor lubricants. And judging by the PCB content, in other words, really good stuff. And Sasha Rasha would probably be downing some right now. In fact, he might be. Does he do these races? I haven't seen him in any of these.
No, he does not.
Because his Packard Bell 286 computer is not quite up to snuff.
That, and he hasn't figured a way to cut the roof off yet.
That's true. Yeah.
In our
Commodore 64 does not let this work.
His pet.
In our
his Amiga.
In our group or Slack chat, Tom Lamino was questioning. He is uncertain of what it is, the gravitational pull that attracts his foot to his groin, or rather his glistening member.
His glistening Texan abs. Yes, actually, Tom actually could be a Texan. He's 6'10", has a
Mustang
saddle
has
with
been
all
freed.
times. Yeah. Wow, this is really.
I think you're thinking of a different Tom Lamino than we're thinking of, because.
No, I know Tom well. Tom's one of the studliest Lemons racers in human history.
He is, but he's not a tall Studlands Lemons racer because the nature, the way nature is everything stops growing when it reaches perfection.
However, his manliness reaches to 6'8", regardless of his actual height.
Fair, I'll give you that.
Yeah, and don't say his name. Don't pronounce his name Lamino because that really makes him mad.
Oh well, now we know what to do.
Apparently, idiots really actually think his name is pronounced like rhyming with domino, which I mean, I'm not even from Long Island, and I can say it right.
So this is the catch fence that we had Meatwad in. So this is where the
number 7 Camaro.
And the awesome airbrushed.
Oh wow.
Firebird. Ooh, we got Sparks. Have we seen Sparks?
I love how the digitization of the light source. You can see the tumbling cars cutting through the steam.
We're going to find this so quaint when we're all living in igloos on the Mars base in 40 years. Like, oh man, they actually did not have 3-dimensional representations of death.
In the igloos on the Mars base. That's right.
Have you, Phil, your satire? Have you started watching the Space Force yet?
I'm into reality.
Okay. Have you started watching the Space Force series on Netflix? All right.
I have not. Sorry.
That's the Steve Carell one, right?
Yes, but also don't forget. I'm surprised they didn't push us more. John Malkovich, and it reminds me how much I like John Malkovich.
Oh, it's Malkovich. I might actually watch it then.
Yes, Well, being in the Air Force, I love anything that makes fun of the kid whose lunch money I now get to steal. So when the Marines come over and take my lunch money, I get to go take the Space Force's lunch money.
So when you were in the Air Force, did you get to go to the chapel at the Colorado Springs, the academy? Because I drive by there and that place is scary as shit.
It's beautiful on the inside.
I go by there on the way to the junkyard, and I gotta say, focus on the family visitor centers right there. And
now that is scary as hell.
Colorado Springs is like the Air Force airstrike juggalo capital of America, and that it is the Protestant Vatican.
It is.
However, in Colorado Springs is really good. You can see
were you in Colorado when? The religious. He's the third generation religious, and he's the nuttiest of all three of them. He's got the God Coliseum just off the other side anyway. But he, I'm
not sure. Are you talking about Jim and Tammy Faye, or is this later on?
No. It's Bush.
If we're gonna talk about glistening members, we gotta get into.
Well,
Jim
and the
Faye
reason, the reason I bring it up, it was but he's based out of Colorado Springs, and then it came out that he was giving meth to a masseuse.
Oh yeah.
And then he said he went away to the woods, and they cured him of his homosexual tendencies. And I remember one of the local morning DJs went, "I wonder if they cured him the way my dad cured me of smoking." When I was
making you do a lot of it. And so Denver and Colorado Springs.
Denver and Colorado
Springs are only like an hour apart, like an hour and 10 minutes apart, but they're
not even now with the Castle Rock becoming suburban Denver.
They're not. Well, Castle Rock's more culturally Colorado Springs than Denver, but they're really. I go down to Colorado Springs pretty regularly, and it's I realize the number of times I have to see very large 10 Commandments slabs. I don't see them too much in my own neighborhood. Just saying. So I realize I'm in kind of a different world. But then the juggalo factor is not to be denied in Colorado Springs. I mean, those guys are definitely not welcome in the focus on the family kind of universe. And yet they're a really important part of Colorado Springs, of their culture.
Yes. There's about to be a fantastic stack of small vehicles, and the Damn It Doug Jetta comes in and just... It's like the planet alive.
Wait for it. Wait for the Damn It Doug.
Is there more?
The Damn It Doug Jetta is going to just tee up all of them all together.
All right, let's see.
I want to point out that the Damn It Doug car has the Torment Incorporated cover.
Yeah, I noticed that.
With the QR reader.
Exactly, so you can scan. Oh, here we go. Oh, this looks good. This is going to be promising.
So all...
Oh, yeah. Everyone's dead.
Just
every single person involved in this is dead.
Are there any flat earthers involved in the broadcast or in the chat right now? Because I think I may have actually proven the flat earth theory.
Well, I gotta say the guy that had the steam powered rocket that died, the flat earth guy, I think he was not really a true believer in the flat earth. I think he was just on the bandwagon to get attention.
Yeah, he just wanted to get
funding is what he wanted.
Well, that's the same thing. Funding and attention are the same thing these days.
Mental, totally. The guy the limo driver from Las Vegas that did the flat Earth rocket, who we have totally themed after, it was totally he just wanted to have a rocket and said, "Well, I can scam these flat Earth fools out of some money because they'll believe anything."
Well, was he a limo driver? He was a limo driver.
Yeah,
he was
totally.
Was it a Lincoln limo or a Cadillac limo?
He'd done some minor stuntman work too. He'd done a little bit of stunt work, and it was great. And I'll tell you right now, if someone would pay for an entire racing season for me, I will jump on that flat Earth bandwagon, and I will give you my absolute best to convince all you the Earth is flat. Somebody,
he was clearly just squeezing money out of the genuine flat Earth believers.
Yeah. Are y'all ready for Lemons to prove the flat Earth theory, and that everyone basically lives in about a 10 square mile radius of this racetrack?
There it is.
Yes.
Oh, look at that.
Oh.
Hang on. I did this just out of pure scientific research, and now watch this. Watch this as I look up.
Can you get that high?
Watch it. Watch. Look what happens.
Oh, it's flat. Yeah.
We're watching.
Look what happens. Watch this.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. This is what the flat Earthers say.
If you ever doubted, we all live in a 10 square mile radius of the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Look at this.
Near Loudon, New Hampshire.
Look at this.
New Hampshire is really...
Look,
kind of a cultural center for America too. I mean, Loudon.
I mean,
Well,
I don't know
Mad
what's
Mike-
out there, but it's obviously not land.
Yeah, Mad Mike Hughes
Pollution
would be
from
very
Boston.
excited. This is exactly what he was looking for when he went up in his steam-powered rocket. The edge of the square-shaped flat Earth.
There it is. And right there, like if I could zoom into the edge all the way around, there are 7.3 million cats just pushing shit off the side.
See, it's flat. I'm up here. It is flat. It
You know,
is done.
Enthusiast Rock is arguing that the Earth is thick, not fat. Oh, you mean flat? Sorry.
PH.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
PHAT. It's fat, yo.
The
That's
cat, that's why the cat on the
shark
Roomba,
costume there? Yes, okay.
cat on a Roomba in a shark costume
Right, okay.
only does small circles because it doesn't want to fall off the square flat Earth.
I can make
It
that.
knows. It knows.
It's instinctive.
I was as shocked as y'all are right now. Really, when I got up here, I was looking at the speedway, and then I panned up, and I was like, "Oh my god, look at that!"
So when Hamza bought some stickers from the Flat Earth folks for our Flat Earth themed car, he felt kind of bad about it. He's like, well, damn it, I can't believe I'm giving them like a couple dollars, but it's still worth it to have a Flat Earth research themed car.
Well, you could pirate your own stickers too. You could just
Turns out they're right.
Probably wouldn't sue you.
Yeah. Well, but for like $1 each that they cost, it would be harder to make them. So.
You know, we actually at one point we rented a Lemons car at the New Jersey race. We rented a Hertz car, which is kind of the Lemons of rental cars now. And it actually came with chemtrails stickers under the hood, like on the engine. Somebody put chemtrails stickers, on the engine. So it's like, okay, that reminds me of another Hertz story I had at the Logan Airport.
Chemtrails hasn't been done well enough yet. Like no one's really done a good quality, solid chemtrails theme.
It's true. So I went to the Hertz place at Logan Airport, and I had a choice between a car that had duct tape marks around all the doors where the doors had to be taped shut, and a car that only had the Ford My Key, which is the key you program so your kids can't speed. It's like, shit, what do I do? So I took the Ford, and it turned out it only had the My Key, which was governed to 51 miles an hour. The radio could not be turned on, and the windows couldn't be rolled up and down, because you could program it for that. No other key. And I called Hertz up, and I was like, actually, it might have been Avis, so don't sue me, Hertz. And I said, hey, what's the deal there? And they said, sorry, sir, once you've left the facility, this car is yours. And I went online. It turns out that people have had this happen where the car was governed to 4 miles an hour, and they just lived with it. They just drove the car 4 miles an hour. That's like a brisk walk, Why even take the car? So I had to drive all the way from Logan Airport to New Hampshire Motor Speedway at 51 miles an hour with no radio and unable to roll the windows down, and realizing I should have gotten the car where the doors had to be held closed with duct tape.
Even the Nissan Altima would be better than the Ford at 451.
No, I'm not convinced the Ultima's better. No,
the Ultima has the problem where, at least the rental spec one, where it won't stay on center on the steering. So you have to pay constant attention to the steering wheel to keep the car from driving off the road at all times. That's kind of a problem.
It's kind of like Desert Bus.
But I gotta say, the only rental car we've had that was maybe worse than that My Key Ford Focus was the one time when Pagel and I were going to the No Problem Raceway, which actually has a lot of problems, and we had a Versa that just kept losing power all of a sudden. We'd be in this really scary Louisiana bayou kind of graveyard island ass place, and it would start to die, and then the gators would start closing it, kind of come back to life. So then we were calling the rental car company, and they actually sent a flatbed to come get us, but they kept going to the horse racing track, because we told them, we're at the racetrack by, next to the, the cemetery and so on. And it took all day to finally convince them, no, it's car racing. There's actually car racing here. And I gotta say, our rental experiences have not always been positive in Lemons.
The most important thing whenever you get a rental car is to reprogram all of the Bluetooths to all of your favorite obscenities. So
Can
that way,
you do
whenever
that?
it's you just you tag your phone and you just call it like
Oh, right.
F. Then the next people when they get in, they say,
Right.
"Oh, I would like to program my my Bluetooth." They push the button and the car just starts cursing at them.
Man, I hadn't even thought about that one. Actually, another good Lemons rental car story is someone whose name I won't mention except that it's Jay's wife. Had one of our rental cars. We were going back to the airport, and she, for some reason, drove over an 18-inch concrete median with it and tore off the transmission pan. Right, so I'm right behind him. It's like, oh, that looks bad. But we were like half a mile from the airport, so the car had enough transmission fluid in the lines to make it to the airport. I pulled up right behind it in my rental car, so you couldn't see the giant trail of transmission fluid because the transmission oil pan was long gone. And we never heard a word from the rental car company. Never heard a single word. Like, okay, that's fine. So, folks, if you trash your rental car, you just don't say anything, and you might not hear anything about it. And we're about to get sued by Budget, Avis, and all the other ones now. Sorry about that.
I used to work full time and still occasionally go out for the some sort of supercar experience company. And early in their business model, they would rent either a Camaro SS or a Mustang GT, and if they couldn't get that, the infamous V6 Mustang. And it was so bad that the principals of the company, the three top people in the company, were banned from 4 different rental car companies.
Well, we've often talked to our racers. Several racers have asked us if we would let them race a car they rented from a rental car company that caged and then put back together after they were done with it, and we're all for it.
Actually, we don't care what they do with it.
Well, we don't care at all. We would let it happen as long as it passes
tech. Like,
it would,
whatever.
The problem is this is where it becomes a problem is modern cars have so many airbags and so many computers that we don't let you run with any explosive safety devices. You got to the seatbelt tensioners got to all come out, and we're pretty sure that most cars would just have Zodiac arrests. They would just melt down if you disconnected all that stuff. You probably wouldn't be able to drive it. So
okay, now I'm coming to you live from the trash chute in the grandstands.
Okay. And this is
literally it's the trash chute from the top of the grandstands.
And I haven't actually watched a NASCAR iRacing broadcast, but I imagine it's very similar to this, except with more references to Richard Nixon's genitalia, correct?
Yeah. Usually they aren't sponsored like we are sponsored by Mad Dog 2020, trying to get your vote 2020.
Well, otherwise known as Mogan David 2020, and that's actually we had in the last High Plains race, which unfortunately we would be having right about now if we hadn't had it canceled due to a virus. We actually had the Salty Thunder Racing did a bum wine tasting. Actually done the last couple races where we had every flavor of AMD 2020, and there's a lot of them. And I gotta say, every one of them tastes like the stuff that oozes out of the, those Ozium air fresheners that you put on your vents in your car. That's what they taste like. Yeah. And we're about to be sued now. I never thought it would happen, but MD 2020 is about to sue us.
I think it's like the air freshener, but with some added tinfoil, I think.
We're about
I think
to
the
be
MD
sued by
2020
a
people
bunch
are
of
pretty
2D
chill.
avatars because you can just stand under the grandstands and
look at the number of identical tie-dye shirts and the fact that they're all just holding dead still yet standing up. They're very excited, but they cannot move.
How long's the race been over? They're still standing. They haven't sat down for the whole event.
Well, no, they dropped a few hits of window pane acid, and it turned out to be
They're totally cheering.
Phil, not to step on you there, but NASCAR. It was pointed out that NASCAR actually will never talk about Richard Nixon's genitalia. NASCAR commentators tend to talk about Lyndon's Big Johnson.
Well, they don't like Lyndon anymore because they don't like Democrats anymore. I mean, back in the day,
Can we get back under the stands there for a second?
Because you're hoping to get some upskirt viewing here now. You perv.
Well, say in many states, this would be you'd be hugely a perv of having the upskirt views there. Thank you.
Upskirt views of identical tie-dye shirts that were made by
amorphous non-genitalia. Yes.
Well, I would also like to point out, when's the last time that a NASCAR event had this many people in the grandstands?
True.
It's been a long time. But for the 24 Hours of Lemons here for a 2-hour event, packed them in. Look,
I think that our iRacing broadcasts have got to be more entertaining than theirs.
Totally.
Yeah, so there you go.
And at the same time,
more excitement.
both more offensive and less offensive.
Well, I guess I should clarify that, but
Well, I'm not a
I think ours is, without a doubt, more informative.
I'm not.
look at all these people.
Everyone learned something tonight if they were here, whether they
I
wanted
hate
to or
to get
not.
back.
Fired. No
I
one's
hate
been
to interrupt to get back to the racing, but the cat on a Roomba in a shark's cube is
continuing
now
to-
leading the race in his quite small circles.
Is it actually a cat, or is that like a fake cat?
It's leading
Not the real
Class
cat.
D.
Okay, good.
So the race has been over for quite some time.
Yeah, I think
Everyone's
it's,
done.
It's time for us to impart our words of wisdom here, and let's start with me because I want to get off this broadcast. Thank you for joining us, and
I was wondering how long it was going to take.
thank you all for tuning in. Thank you guys for joining us on the broadcast. Phil, everyone, racers, you guys have been great. Thank you, Ryan from the Bearded Sim Racer. You've been awesome. The VR views that Sean's brought us from all the really important parts of the racetrack is really the highlight, I think, of the evening. Some people won, probably. I don't really know.
These just
all I
get
gotta
better
say-
and better.
Again, the
We'll
viewers.
cover that as long
The
as you
viewer.
like. I'm done. Good night, guys.
All right, see you later.
So,
Bye,
yeah,
everybody.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
I think I'm going to roll out right after him and say, I like turtles.
I like pizza. So yeah, Nate Schlavine back-to-back victories there for Team Priority Fail Racing. Bear Pope Enduro color name coming home in second tonight. Jared Duclos driving at the finish. The Momrath Cheaties Trolley for David Carpenter and Company coming home in third. In fourth was the Tiagi Reserves for Doug Ellison. Those top four were all Class A. The Damn It Doug Racing, number 255 for Peter Monin. And no, not sure who his teammate was. Looks like it was Lee Berry. They come home number one in Class B.
I was going to say, Class B
Second
winners.
Yep, Class B winners. Second in Class B is Team Far From Winning, Alex Levinson and the number 14 Jetta. In third was the Drop Packets Endurance Racing Team for Matt Larson. I think that was the Vans Miata, if I'm not mistaken, coming home third in Class B. And then our Class C cars, the podium there was the number 44, the Team 1969 for David Bryan and Andrew Banach coming home with the victory in Class C. Also 11th overall. Very impressive there. There we go. There's a look at them. Second in Class C was the number 13 for Black Maven Motorsports. That was Greg Schneidinger and also Raymond Muratori. Yep.
Muratori, thank you.
And then third in Class C, finishing 15th overall, the number 4 for Soggy, the Super Happy Fun Club, which was
Soggy has been
and
podium
Brian Trainer.
like all time.
Yep.
Soggy keeps showing up at the podium. This is very unsoggy-like behavior. I'm impressed.
Fantastic. Congratulations, all drivers, on the results tonight. Again, we had 23 different cars out there, 6 Class A cars, 9 Class B cars, and 8 Class C cars. So a good mixture of cars out there tonight. And yeah, everybody in the booth, thank you for coming out. It was a good time. And thank you all to all the people in chat for entertaining and listening to our entertaining stories all night. Thanks to Judge Phil for joining us too, and all of the Everyone Racers podcast members. You guys were pleasure to have you on. Hopefully you'll come back and do this again with us sometime.
Yeah, find our real racing talk anywhere you get your downloads for your podcasts.
Follow us on any of your
podcast
social
platforms.
media. Follow us on social media at everyone.racers.
There we go. Fantastic. Well, thank you guys all for joining us. And we'll be back on Thursday for Lemons Season 2. I think it's going to be race 4 now. It'll be at Barber. So we'll see you guys Thursday night. I'm assuming probably around 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 Central. Yep. So other than that, until we do this again, thank you guys for watching, and thank you everyone in the booth for being here tonight.
Thank you, everyone, for watching. Thank you, Ryan.
All right. Well, we're out of here
night
until
from
Thursday. Oh
Good
yeah.
night from a very lonely Victory Lane.
Yes, thank you, Meatwad.
Are you in Victory? You are. Look, you are in Victory. Lane.
Literally, just it's so lonely
There
here,
you
man.
go.
They've already cleaned
It
everything
is
up.
Social distancing at its
It's
finest there
so
in Victory Lane.
lonely. Like, there's no one here. It's so sad. This is like the sad hour.
Be
Thank
careful
you,
because
Sean.
everyone pees on that podium during the race.
I know.
Exactly right.
I know.
Thank you,
If you-
Sean
if you
Yoder from
scan to your
Nemesis
left
Lab
just
for
a
all
little
the
bit.
unique views tonight. Thank you for that.
Yeah, there'll be more.
If you scan to the left just a little bit, that's usually where we park and party. So join us at the next race. Right there, yeah.
Nice.
Right where those
Right about
people are
there.
standing. Yep.
Good spot.
Yeah, I'll
Awesome.
join you out there next time we're up there. I'm gonna go over there and hang out with y'all, show you my new shit.
All right. Meatwad, thanks to Meatwad for being here too. We appreciate you.
Bye-bye, y'all.
All right. We'll see you guys Thursday. Thanks for coming.
Next race, I'm bringing MCP paint.
Excellent.